Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Top Rope Renegades Wrestling Podcast. My name is Kurt. Alongside RK, we have so much to get into on today's episode regarding Backlash predictions, reviews, of course, of all the shows from the previous week from regarding last week's episode, and we have, of course, the news, rumor, and innuendo. And I'll give you a little small tidbit because RK, we were watching Dynamite last night, and he had a comment where he said, "I can't wait for you to hear what I got in store for you. It's going to be awesome." So RK, we'll get into that in a minute. But first things first, how are you doing?
Whoa, just, leading the horse to water there. You're just giving away my secrets right off the hop. You can't even let me
All right,
surprise you with it.
little bit.
Okay. We cool. Going good, man. It's Thursday night. The work week's almost over. It's been crazy, but hey, at least we're on time this week with the show. We are trying to get the show done on Thursday nights, so we're not like midweek of the next week of this week, next week, and I don't know. So, anyways, nonetheless, we're on time this week. I'm prepared this time for once, and I do have something that might just send Kurt off the deep end, and I'm actually kind of hoping it will, because Kurt just going on little tirades is the best thing ever.
Well, you might get one tonight because I am in a great mood. I feel fantastic. I was hanging out with a old friend of mine. Shout out to Allie if she listens. Me and her used to go to Pacer games all the time. Used to watch Indiana Pacer games together years ago. And life. Obviously, you mentioned it. We've been super busy, but it just so happened she cuts my hair. She cut my hair today, and it timed up perfectly with, oh wait, the Pacers are playing Game 6 against the Milwaukee Bucks, and let's go. So we went to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch the game and had a few drinks, a few adult beverages, and I feel fantastic. One, because I had a couple drinks, and the Indiana Pacers defeated the Milwaukee Bucks, and we'll move on to the East Conference semifinals. I am looking forward to it, RK. Can't wait. So NBA is going great for me, and we don't normally talk other things, but hockey for you, Vancouver, they gotta finish the series, don't they? Still battling with the Preds.
Man, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. Fuck the refs and fuck Gary Bettman.
Yeah.
When's the last time the Canadian team has won the cup since '93? And you can talk all the shit you want. American teams better, blah, blah, blah. Your teams are full of Canadian players. So nonetheless, Gary Bettman continues to fuck Canadian teams, and I'm getting sick and tired of it. But we're in Nashville tomorrow. We're just going to, finish out the series in your hometown there, Nashville. So,
hell yeah.
Sorry.
That'd be fantastic. Pacers couldn't close it out in Milwaukee. I think they were just being nice, and they're like, "We'll do it in front of our home fans." But yeah, Pacers moving on. As we record, I don't know. I think we're gonna end up playing the Knicks. It looks like, unless Philadelphia is overtaken. Oh, Philadelphia is actually in the lead, so we don't know yet. And the Toronto Maple Leafs RK are up 2-0 with 2 minutes and 13 seconds left in the third. Could be forcing a game 7. So there's a little sports talk for the pod. We don't normally do that, and Hey,
it's playoff season. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm sure you're a sports fan. So I mean, it's not too far off base.
Yeah, you're right. So let's get into the full thing of today's episode. We're gonna kind of do it how we did one of the other episodes with the AEW Dynasty predictions. We did not think. Literally right before we recorded, I was like, "Oh, we're just gonna go through the shows. We're gonna start with news." No, we have Backlash in France this weekend, Saturday morning for me and you, and we got 5 matches to get to. So we're gonna go ahead and do the predictions real quick for Backlash 2024. I almost forgot what year it was. Backlash 2024. Only 5 matches on the card. Arcade. Does that seem too small to you, or are you okay with it, because it's kind of not a big card, it's not a big pay-per-view, but it's the one after WrestleMania. So what do you think about 5 matches currently confirmed? We could add more. We do record before SmackDown, but right now, we speak, 5 matches on the card.
Yeah, I mean, 4 of them are title matches, I believe.
Yes.
So I mean, they could be longer matches. I mean, we got some storytelling to get going with the Bloodline. That's going to play some a factor in that. I think we might end up seeing Jacob Fatu this weekend. So,
Ooh.
who's to say? I mean, the bloodline stuff. I mean, Roman Reigns ain't there, so I don't think we're getting any 45-minute entrances. But they could be longer matches. So 5 matches, it's possible. I mean, title matches, blah blah blah. It's right after WrestleMania. The whole, WWE era is, WWE's numbers are dropping the last month. It's after WrestleMania. It happens every year. You have that big, orgasm you want to say, and then afterwards you kind of want to have a nap, right? So we're probably sitting in that with wrestling at the moment.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
So that's where I feel on it. Obviously,
I sleep really well at night.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, let's get
so anyways, 5 matches. We're probably looking at about a 2-hour, 45-minute, 3-hour pay-per-view. It's not a bad thing. It is right after WrestleMania. So.
Oh man, let's dig into this card real quick. We'll start with the non-title match that has been confirmed. That is Randy Orton and Kevin Owens teaming together, RKO, to take on the bloodline of Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. RK, what do you think with this one?
I'm thinking that something's going to happen. It is a bloodline story. I mean, how often do bloodline stories end without some kind of interference? So I think Randy Orton and KO take it through disqualification of some sort. Maybe. Oh, actually, that's tough. Maybe it's a blind interference, and then Solo and Tama take. I think you actually give it to Solo and Tama here. You got to give them some momentum. They're trying to build up the next chapter of the bloodline story. You got to remember, we're not in inning 3, 4. You can't ask Paul Heyman because he'll tell you ask the Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns ain't around, so who do we ask? I don't know, but it's one of those innings of the never-ending bloodline story, which I'm okay with because the bloodline story has still been one of the most compelling things in wrestling for the last 4 years. So, final decision, Solo and Tama take it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the bloodline's going to win, and you think you alluded to it. I think Jacob Fatu maybe makes an appearance here to help the bloodline get the win, and this is the Solo Sikoa's bloodline. He is the new quote unquote tribal chief. Got to make him look strong. I think this is Tama Tonga's first official match in WWE. I think he's going to look fantastic. You're going to see a little bit of that New Japan style that Tama Tonga has. I'm taking.
Hey, can we? Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. Can we talk for a quick second how Tama Tonga somehow looks younger now than he did 5 years ago? Like, it's the dude's in fuck, man, the dude looks good, and you're right. It is his first match. It's going to be a banger. But anyways, sorry, I just had it. I just popped my head.
You're right. You're right.
Aging backwards.
We need whatever he's got going on. But yeah, I'm going to take Solo Sikoa and the MFT Tama Tonga to beat Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. I think it'll be a good match. We'll see what happens with that. And of course, as we said, we do record before SmackDown. So we obviously don't know what's going to happen on the SmackDown before Backlash. But all we know is there is the RKO show going on.
It's perfect. The RKO show, it works. It's perfect. That's going to be a fun segment. Shit's going to go down.
Up next, we have the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. You know what? Actually, before I get into that, RK, because we did say there's only 5 matches announced, we're going to kind of fantasy book this next one. If the Intercontinental Championship is defended by Sami Zayn, there was rumors that it could be this. Some news outlets reported that it was happening, but it is not confirmed as of 8 hours ago. This is the website that I'm looking at. We'll say it's Sami Zayn defending the IC title against Bronson Reed and Sami Zayn. I'll take this one, and I'll just say Sami Zayn retains, but I think Gable comes really close. Maybe Otis and Tozawa try and help him legitimately, and they fail, which adds more fuel to that story. But I'll say Sami Zayn's going to retain if this triple threat match happens. What say you?
Well, I'm going to start with Alpha Academy here because you brought them up. Can we just talk Maxine Dupree?
Yes.
I think it was like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. You were like, maybe they're swerving us. Maybe Maxine's like this amazing fucking talent in the ring, and they're just making her look bad. But nonetheless, she has improved. Like that match that we're going to talk about, was actually, she looked good. So I mean, it is that whole Candice LeRae thing going on right now. I'm still not. But anyways, nonetheless, my whole point here is, are you sure you're the one who's drunk and not me? Because my thoughts are all over the place. But anyways, Maxine Dupree is looking much better. But Alpha Academy, if this fantasy booking of yours, if it does happen, I mean, we did have the interference on the match this week already happen, and yeah, I had seen a mock poster that it was supposed to be Sammy and Bronson at Backlash. I don't know if what happened, if that was a real thing and then it got switched around, stories changed, but fantasy booking, if we have a triple threat, Sammy, Bronson, Gable, I think Sammy, you don't take the title off Sammy right away. I think you build up this Sammy Gable thing a bit more. I mean, Gable's currently transitioning into probably the greatest heel of all time. Sorry, Roman, but I mean, Gable, all for it. So I say Sammy would take it, but Gable does come really close and probably definitely, yeah, I'm pretty much the same boat as you. Alpha Academy comes out, they fuel that story. We love stories, so yeah, I'm with it.
All right. Well, we're both taking Sammy to retain, but we could fuel some stories there with Gable and the Alpha Academy. Up next, we'll go to it. You know what? Actually, I say we're going to go to it again, but just in case, I don't think there's any opponent. And you know what? I'm not even going to get into it. We'll just say it real quick. If Logan Paul defends the U.S. title, I think he retains whoever he's facing. I don't think he has an opponent, RK. What do you think about the U.S. title right now?
The U.S. title, I mean, who would he have an opponent? He's done KO multiple times recently. Yeah, they don't really have any build up for that, so I can't see it happen. I just don't see there being a match. Period.
And then one more before we get into another confirmed match. Becky Lynch is not slated to be on this card to defend the title, which is weird to me. I thought she would be defending against Liv, but apparently
no,
she's
you
not.
No. You don't think that, because there needs to be more build up to that. The revenge tour cannot end this quick. No,
right.
It's not happening yet.
I'm only saying that because of live shows that are taking place in overseas. Becky's there with the title. So it's just
I'm sure we might see some. This is probably why we only have 5 matches on the card, because they're gonna spend the card building shit.
Maybe
shit's gonna go down.
All right. Well, we won't even get into the WWE Women's Heavyweight Championship then. I think Becky, if she does defend it, she probably retains. That's kind of how this show after WrestleMania goes anyway. But now we'll get into officially back to the card. The WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. The Kabuki Warriors defend against the tag team of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. RK, what do you think?
Jade's not taking a loss here. Jade and Bianca are going to come away with the championships in this match. I mean, it's not even a question. You don't give Jade a loss here. They're the champions after this match.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bianca and Jade win. And the story that's going to be told with them with the titles, I will give credit to Cultaholic, a great YouTube channel. Check them out. I'll link them in the description. One of the individuals, I can't remember if it was Jack or Ross, on the channel, had mentioned that he thinks Bianca and Jade will win as well, and he mentioned that maybe they're just so dominant as the women's tag team championships that comes to a point where they decide there's no point for these women's tag team championships. We're just going to pit Jade versus Bianca for a mid-card women's title, a la NXT's Women's North American Championship. That was just a cool little pitch, I thought. I do think this, even if they don't go that route, it will lead to Bianca and Jade eventually going against each other in some sort of capacity. Because they're two big stars that should be single stars. You're not going to keep them as a tag team for forever, obviously, but they'll be a dominant tag team for a while. I don't know. What are your thoughts on maybe that happening?
We're talking a dominant tag team in Bianca and Jade. I think Yes, it'll be kind of like
Like who's beating them? You know?
really, that's a good question. I mean, this is for the SmackDown women's titles, right? Is there only one?
No,
I can't remember.
the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships are both brands. They're cross promotion.
Yeah,
They're
that's
cross brand.
right. I mean, oh, yeah, no, who can beat them? I mean, eventually, this makes sense. You got to start Jade off in group matches, tag matches. What they're doing, it's to hide any flaws per se. I'm not saying that Jade has any flaws. I haven't seen any yet, but it does hide any flaws and gives her ring time while not having to fully be the focus of attention, even though she is. Yeah, they hold the titles for a while at the very least, until at least SummerSlam or some shit, because who does take them off them? But you eventually got to take them off them because, I mean, Jade's destined to be, world champion one day. So they hold them for a bit, at least till SummerSlam. But yeah, no, there's nobody in the WWE that could. I mean, Bianca is a force to be reckoned to. With, I mean, former world champion. Yeah, that's a deadly fucking tag team, man. That's deadly.
Yeah, it makes me think they'll be dominant so much that they'll eventually say, "All right, we got to figure this out." Jade, Bianca, you guys are gonna battle for a mid card or something, or number one contender for the next championship. Who knows? Before we get to the next match, Game 7, Toronto, Boston is happening. So we'll see. Just just a random little tidbit for you. Up next, the WWE Women's Championship. Bayley is defending against Naomi and Tiffany Stratton. RK, I'll let you take this one. Bayley is one of your favorites, one of your goats. What do you think with this one?
Man, Bayley again, and this is right after WrestleMania. You can't be flipping the titles right away.
Right.
So I got to take Bayley in this match, but I'm going to follow that with, man, Tiffany. She continues to look amazing every week. She shows up, whether it's at ringside, in the crowd, interfering, doing her whatever. She's got it. She's got it. You told me you're like, when she came up, you're like, well, Tiffany Stratton. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And then I get it. She's beautiful. She's great in the ring. That moonsault is the prettiest moonsault ever. It truly is.
It's
flawless. It's flawless.
She gave a nod on a podcast to Christopher Daniels when Daniels was doing the best moonsault ever. It's literally that. She gave the nod. She said, "Yeah, it's from Christopher Daniels back when Christopher Daniels TNA, the
Chris
Fallen
Daniels,
Angel
legend.
He did the best moonsault ever, and it is Tiffany's to a T." She said, "Well, I'll just change around and call it the prettiest moonsault ever." So yeah,
so I get it. She's shooting to the top. She's got it all. She's the whole package, and she continues on this rate. She will be She'll be right up there with the big names: Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, Bayley. She'll be right up there. She's destined for the top. But that being said, you don't take the title off. You can't take titles off right after WrestleMania. It's just weird. So Bayley retains. It's gonna be a great match, though. Yeah. I mean, we're forgetting Naomi's in that match. I mean,
yeah.
No disrespect to Naomi. I love Naomi. I'm so happy when she came back. But this is gonna be a Bayley Tiffany thing, man. It's gonna be good.
And that's kind of my thing. I think Bayley does retain. Maybe even Naomi eats the pin, or Tiffany. I mean, either or. Honestly, it won't hurt either to take the pin. But Bayley will retain, and I think that this will lead more down the line with her and Tiffany back and forth. The feud will continue between Bayley and Tiffany, but there is that Nia Jax looming. She's there. So we'll see if she has anything to say during this match. I don't know. But I will say Bayley retains the title. Up next, we have the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Damian Priest defending against Jey Uso. RK, what do you think?
I want Jey to win so bad. Jey, man, now that Jimmy's injured, I mean, I'd love to see the Usos get back together, and it's going to happen. The Bloodline Survivor Series match, War Games, it's happening. But man, I want Jay to win. It's another one of the sins. You can't. There's gonna be no title changes this weekend. I just can't see it happening. Damian Priest, and I was like, Damian Priest is just a placeholder for the title until they figure it out. But I don't know, man. Damian Priest, I think actually can run with that title. He's impressed me since day one. His Archer gimmick to what he is now. I've always been a Damian Priest fan, and he's doing some of the best work of his career. And we'll get into it on Raw, but I mean, the person that conceivably can take the title off of Damian right now is probably Finn Balor, and that could set up one hell of a story inside the Judgment Day. Finn deserves another shot at that title. He's had a shot, but I think he deserves another hold of that title. Finn is just so good, and he's just recently re-signed to a big contract, so that's the match I want to see if the title's going to change anytime soon, is Finn versus Damian, and I think we're going to get it. Yeah, so Damian retains. Nothing against. I want Jay to win so bad, but I don't see it happening. But man, that's tough. Damian though, I gotta go with Damian. I want Damian Finn for the title.
I will start this by saying, if a title does change hands, this is the one. I do agree with you. I want Jay to win. I want Jay to have that moment. But at the same time, I don't see it happening. I see Damian retaining. I think Damian will look really good in this match. I really do. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to repeat everything you just said. You basically took everything I would say about it. Damian retains, simple as that. And people could say, well, he can hold it a bit longer, but you guys are wanting Finn, but there's Drew and there's CM Punk. Drew and CM Punk do not need a fucking title.
That's one of those. That is one of those things where they do not need a title to make that.
And we'll get into that once we get the Raw.
Any different. That writes itself. That's one of those matches. And Bruce Pritchard, I quote him a lot, but I mean I love his shit. The belts are just props. You don't need a belt to sell everything, and he's not wrong. The CM Punk Drew feud does not need a title to make it feel any bigger. It's probably the biggest thing going on in WWE right now.
Agreed. But I'm going to take Damian Priest as well, and I think we're both going to be in unison with this next one. The Undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes defending against AJ Styles. Should be a fantastic match. I'm going Cody Rhodes. There's no way he's losing the title right after one of the greatest stories in WWE history. I'm going Cody Rhodes. RK, I assume you're doing the same.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes. But man, this is, and I hate this term because, well, I don't, but it's a dream match. It truly is. AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes. Man, AJ Styles is that guy, and this match is going to be 4.75 stars because, God forbid, Dave gives a 5-star to a WWE match. But these two are going to go hard. Cody wins 100%. Cody's running with the title probably till WrestleMania at the very least, unless some crazy rock that happens during the middle of the year. But I don't even care about who wins this match. I'm so excited for this match. Cody, AJ, let's go.
Those are our predictions for Backlash, which is coming up this weekend as we record. If you are listening and you have any predictions you would like to share, of course, there's a comment section. Please do. And with that, RK, let's get into news and the rumors and the good old innuendo. I'm going to let you go ahead. Take over. What do you got for me?
Let's get funky like a monkey, baby. I'm going to send you something on Discord quickly. You can take a look at it. You react, don't react. I don't care. This is awesome. A trademark has been filed under the name Raj Desi, and another trademark has also been filed under the Maharaja, without an H though, because WWE has the Maharaja with an H already trademarked. Who do you think that might be?
All right. Okay. So this is Jinder's new. This is his new thing.
This is his new name. Apparently, this has been trademarked by Jinder Mahal. as of a couple days ago. And I just thought, I'd open up with this because we all know how Kurt's favorite I'm not even. I think we got to go back and do that top 10 wrestlers of all time cast again, because I think you might have left him out. I don't know why you would have, but
Well, I mean, are we doing the top 10 least favorite? Because he might be in the top 3.
Well, I mean, what do you think of this? Do you like the new name? Will you?
Listen, I get it. When you leave WWE, you gotta have a different name. Valid, fair. I don't know. I'm gonna do a quick Google real quick. What is Jinder Mahal's real name? Jinder Mahal's real name is Yuvraj Singh Desi. Okay, so Raj Desi, I get it. Okay, so last name stays the same. Whatever. Don't know where you got the Raj. Wait, yes I do. Maharaj. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Fuck this guy, dude. Oh God.
Where do you think? What's the most likely ending up place for him? Because he's going to come back.
Well, he's not going. He's not. Look, I'm going to preface this. I hope he succeeds.
Come on, think about before you say what you're about to say, because Tony Khan may have said what he said, but wouldn't that be like the ultimate swerve?
Yes, it would.
Shit, you could get right in there. You could put him in a match with Swerve. It'd be good. It'd be a good match.
Don't ever fucking say that again. Yes, it would be a cool swerve. Honestly, if they want to produce good stories, as we'll get into Dynamite, and I think it's a great one going on, the Elite should bring in Raj Desi, honestly, to the Elite in spite of Tony Khan because of that beef. It would be kind of funny. He's not going to AEW. I'm sorry. There's just no way. TNA, maybe, makes sense. He sure as shit isn't going to New Japan. And even even in TNA, he would be a fucking joke. Okay, he'd be a jobber. He actually, I don't know. Why do you do this to me? The modern day Maharaja. That's what it is. The Maharaja. Because you got the Ja at the end. Man, Raj Dej. Oh my God. He just couldn't go away from the modern day Maharaja, could he? Couldn't be original?
No. I'm sure. I'm sure.
I can't wait for the first Punjabi prison match. Oh my God!
In AEW, and it could be an explode. It could be an exploding death Punjabi prison.
I have nightmares. I have nightmares of that match. You have no idea how much I dislike that match, and I'm not alone in that thinking. But an exploding Punjabi prison match would honestly make me stop watching AEW for a while. I'd give up. We could do this podcast, and you're gonna have to watch it by yourself. That's how I feel about it. I can't. I couldn't. And I'll tell you this: if he goes to AEW, it's gonna be a hard watch every fucking week. I just can't do it. Like I don't feel sorry for him anymore. I don't because Adam Pearce put out that video. Whatever he said, you control what happens. You put in the work, you do this, and he wants to sit here and complain. Whatever makes you sleep well at night, Raj. This might be the first person that leaves WWE and has to do his name change that I'll remember. Because ain't nobody gonna remember Jinder fucking Mahal. Nobody gives a fuck about Jinder Mahal. Ooh, WWE champion. You were just a ploy so the WWE gets some money. And they realize we made a mistake. We're gonna have this guy go up against Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. Not a chance. Where's AJ Styles, an actual good wrestler?
That's a good point that you bring up. That WWE realized they made a mistake because they were in India doing a tour, and originally they were gonna. There was a match was scheduled between Triple H and Jinder Mahal, and originally the whole thing was. Triple H was going to put Jinder Mahal over in India. Obviously makes sense, big giant pop and everything. But Triple H was getting out of the airport or something, and he got into a cab, and the guy was like, "Man, you're Triple H. I loved you. I had your posters on my wall as a kid. You're the greatest thing ever. I'm such a huge fan." And that interaction made Triple H and Vince McMahon change the finish of the match to be Triple H beating Jinder Mahal in his own fucking country. So, yeah, I get it. I get it. You're right. You're right.
And you know who that? Do you know who that driver was? Veer Mahan. Anyway, fucking hell.
I love this. I knew this was gonna set you off, and it's great because
Been having a good night, man. The Pacers won a playoff series for the first time in years, 10 years. And okay, it is what it is.
So anyways, I'm no lawyer, but I'm sure just taking an H off of Maharaja is probably not going to work. But don't quote me. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure WWE will be like, hey,
how long have you had this graphic? How long have you had this graphic made?
A little bit. A little bit.
It's gonna pain me when I go to post edit this and I have to put this in. You understand that?
I know. That's why I made it.
It's gonna get 2 seconds.
I'm sure because we have a 90-day no compete clause, whatever it is. I don't know how that works.
Fucking 90-day for him. Let him go embarrass himself a day after he gets released. Fucking hell.
But I'm sure we won't. I won't have to bring up Jinder or Raj Desi for at least a few months too. But I'm going to keep this on the back burner because every time I hear any Raj Desi Jinder Mahal news, it's front and foremost on every pod because this is gold. I love it.
Anyways, what else you got for me that isn't gonna piss me off?
DAZN, AEW has been dropped by DAZN due to lower than expected viewership.
You're saying DAZN for Americans, it's the Zone, but go ahead.
Okay, whatever.
DAZN. There you go.
DAZN. Anyways, I wouldn't read into that too much. I mean, they're probably just they also said later on, this is just like clickbait stuff. AEW dropped by DAZN due to lower than expected viewership, and then you click on it and it's like, and also DAZN's dropped their budget for wrestling content, so it's a corporate thing, right? So I wouldn't read into it much. But that being said, the numbers have been lower than expected lately, and we'll get into that a little bit here. What else do I got for you?
I got something real quick.
Go ahead.
WrestleMania 41 location. It has been confirmed that Minnesota is no longer the front runner. It's seeming more and more like it's going to be in Las Vegas.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I mean, it's Las Vegas. It makes sense. TKO, their big stuff goes down in Las Vegas for UFC and shit. It makes sense. It's a travel destination. It is going to draw a lot of people. People love going to Vegas. I'm sure the city of Vegas itself had a lot of input on that, going, damn, the amount of money that's going to draw all these crazy fans spending money in our casinos. I love it. So, yeah, it makes sense. That being said, Triple H actually said today an announcement on the WrestleMania 41 location is coming very, very soon. So we're likely to hear that it is probably Vegas. Undertaker already kind of slipped up on a podcast that it's in Vegas. Not that he would know. He's like, maybe I've heard, I don't know, but you fucked up. And then he still posted that podcast, so it's not like he really cared in the end. That being said, London has been popping up in WrestleMania conversations lately.
It'll happen.
Man, you want to see a true battle between AEW and WWE, man? Both having their biggest shows in London. Ooh, oh, that could create some fire. I love it. I want to see it. What else? Undertaker. Back to the Undertaker. He says Cody Rhodes turning heel is inevitable. Yeah, it truly is. Cody Rhodes heel. Cody Rhodes is. We've said it before on this podcast, Matt, how cool it would be for heel Cody Rhodes again. Come out, jet black hair. Oh, dude. Would you be pumped for Cody Rhodes heel turn?
100%. I don't think it'll happen it could while he's the champion, but I think it's more so when he loses the championship finally. That's when he breaks and he disappears maybe for a bit, and then he comes back with, as you said, jet black hair. I'm all in for a heel run Cody Rhodes, 100%.
Be so good. I love heel Cody Rhodes. When he was running that shit in New Japan with Bullet Club, oh, so good. More on Cody. He was on Cheap Heat podcast. He was asked about AEW and whatnot, and he basically said, you know what? The narrative changed a lot about my contributions to AEW after I left, and that was very disappointing. There were some people, I'm not going to say names, they know who they are, who kind of tried to put some propaganda out when I left. But I just want to say, me, Matt, and Nick are as close as ever. And let's be honest, AEW does not happen without me. It's as simple as that. He says he can never root against them. He'll always have them in his heart. But yeah, he's just upset that, shit has been coming out that, he was not actually all that important to AEW, which is a joke. I mean, he is right. It probably does not happen without him. He was wrestling fans know who the Young Bucks are and Kenny Omega is, but the whole world knew who Cody Rhodes was.
Yeah, I don't get it. I'm over the shots that AEW wants to take. I mean, come on. Can we just move forward and just understand that you have your show and just do it? It's that simple to me. I don't get I don't get the shots, and maybe we'll get to a point where they stop. I think AEW's got a good story going on right now where maybe they cannot take shots at it, but I feel like they're going to creep up. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm with you on that, man. After this past couple weeks of Dynamite, I think they're trending in the right direction with this shit. We'll talk more about it in the show, but Dave Meltzer actually had something critical to say about AEW, and I was just like, whoa, okay, hold up. Dave, what's up? Did somebody piss you off? What's going on? But anyways, Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega has he has his Twitch stream. I tune in once in a while. I love the dude. I truly do. If we do ever go back and do another top 10 thing, I think, I put Kenny Omega higher. He continuously I love to do more and more every day. But on his Twitch stream, he was asked about his favorite PWG match. And his response, hilarious. I love this dude. He keeps it kayfabe. He loves the wrestling industry. He understands kayfabe, and I love it. So his response to that was, my favorite match in PWG. That's a good question. One that I really enjoyed that I think was just so fun to watch from start to finish was my match against, and I mean, he's long since retired, but before he retired and went back to his orphanage in Mexico, I had a good match with a guy named El Generico. Do you guys remember him? I don't know what he's up to now. I hope he's doing okay, but that's one of my favorite matches. So I would say almost everybody knows who El Generico is, and
nope.
No, absolutely. He's retired. He's back in his orphanage. I love that from Kenny. He keeps kayfabe alive. And that's cool. He gave a shout out to Sami Zayn. So bravo. He's been talking. Kenny Omega's a wrestling guy, and I love him for this. He talks about how people don't slander Roman Reigns because what he was doing in the WWE was basically what Kenny was doing in New Japan. He's talking about one of his favorite matches from a wrestling promotion with El Generico, Sami Zayn. I love the dude. He is, and I'm so glad we'll talk about it on Dynamite, but I'm so glad because he is what everybody should strive to be as a wrestler, as a wrestling fan, because he's a fan of wrestling just as much as he's just one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. He's just like, he talks about shit and he loves wrestling, and he doesn't want people talking negatively about wrestling. And yeah, he's creeping up that list of all-time greatest wrestler person of all time. I love it. So yeah, there's that.
When we'll get into Kenny Omega, he did. It was announced, so it's not spoiling anything. He was announced to be returning to AEW Dynamite, and we'll get into Dynamite, of course, when we get there. Any other news that I had? I was reported that Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, was injured in his title match with Jon Moxley for the New Japan World Heavyweight Championship. The match was cut a little short because of this. So hopefully he gets better quickly. I think he's really good. He's really good in the ring, honestly, for as big as he is. He looks fantastic. So hopefully he heals up quickly. RK, any comments on that, or do you have anything else?
Yeah, well, further goes to prove that if they don't call the doctor in, somebody's actually hurt in AEW. So,
All right.
because yeah, I don't know where he suffered that injury. I'm wishing him a speedy recovery because you're right, Powerhouse Hobbs is actually a really good fucking wrestler. So, I got a few more things. I'll just quickly rip these off. Eric Rowan has signed with the WWE,
Yes,
so
let's go.
Wyatt Six, let's fucking go. Drew McIntyre has signed a new contract with the WWE. Apparently, The Rock was heavily involved in that signing, and he sent him a Scottish Claymore with a note while he was at dinner. That was all over Twitter, so that's cool. Drew had to say he sat down with Triple H and Nick Khan, and they hammered out a new deal. Drew said, "I trusted Triple H when he brought me back in 2017, and I trust him now to lead the evolution of our industry. Here's to the future." So that's cool. We got Drew.
Yes, he was on. I told you yesterday I was going to listen to it. He was on. I didn't today. I was busy at work. And then obviously Pacers. But Drew was on Pat McAfee's weekly show on ESPN, and he mentioned that basically he said I wasn't going anywhere. So that's just beautiful to hear. Beautiful.
That's awesome. And right now, Drew, CM Punk, they need to carry this on. They could carry this on for the next 4 years. I'd love it. They're gold together. Patrick Mahomes, we'll talk about him. He showed up, but people are wondering why he's portrayed as a heel type guest.
Yeah.
WWE didn't bring him in. That was purely a Prime thing. It was a promotion for Prime. Logan Paul brought him in. That was purely Prime, nothing to do with WWE. So they played it how they wanted to play it. Sean Ross Sapp has reported that the WWE is very aware, and very is a very, very true thing here, of the Def Rebel criticism. So WWE's listening. We might hopefully we get these bad entrance things gone with, because wow. And two last quick things. Trademark was filed recently for Maple Leaf Wrestling.
Okay.
The address listed on the application matches the one that Scott D'Amore uses for his Border City wrestling promotion. So, rumors saying that Scott D'Amore is starting up another promotion.
I'm here
and
for
last one. I totally am. Scott D'Amore. I really hope that the TNA's low pay-per-view sell on their last pay-per-view was a reaction to Scott D'Amore being fired or leaving or whatever it was. I hope that was the reason, because Scott D'Amore brought that company back from the dead, man.
Yep.
So I'm all for it. See what he does. Maple Leaf Wrestling, it sounds like it'd be a Canadian thing, so I'm definitely for it. And last thing, John Cena and Charlotte Flair apparently have traveled to France with the WWE ahead of the pay-per-view.
I already know what's happening. Cena's going to come out, make an appearance, and go, man, WrestleMania would be really cool in France, and then leave. That's what he did with Money in the Bank was in London. So, I mean,
probably. I'm all for it. Anytime
cool,
you see John Cena is awesome. And Charlotte Flair, that's cool that she's there. So she's close to returning. And she's been working out lots of videos, working out hard in the gym with her lovely hubby Andrade. So she's got to be getting close. So we need Charlotte Flair back. Charlotte Flair is amazing. And I have one more thing. Thea Hale, she has made the NXT banner. Let's go.
There you go. Thea Hale on the NXT banner. We'll get an NXT here in just a minute. But before we do that, we got to get into WWE's SmackDown from April 26, 2024. This was the next, or was this the first installment of the WWE draft? Caleb Braxton kicked things off by talking to Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman announced to all of us that Roman Reigns will be withdrawing from the 2024 draft, and putting pressure on Nick Aldis, who should be the first pick. We had Jackie Redmond. She was moderating the NXT draft party, which was in the Performance Center with the whole NXT roster in attendance. We get two in-ring segments, of course. It's the contract signing. AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed title at Backlash. Corey Graves, of course, the moderator. AJ basically takes shots at LA Knight, but says he respects Cody because they're both Georgia boys. Both had to prove themselves outside of WWE. There's that connection. And both of them have gotten good advice from, of course, Dusty Rhodes, because wherever Cody goes, Dusty follows. And of course, but at the end, AJ says we have mutual respect, but he will regain the WWE title and show he can still carry a company. And Cody, of course, puts over AJ. No locker room respects AJ more than no locker room respects the pedigree of AJ Styles more. AJ is one of the greatest, and it'll be a fantastic match. And but he says this isn't about winning the title; it's about keeping it. And promised at a Backlash he would be playing the field. It's a must-win for Cody Rhodes. Sign the contracts, and that is it. That is your opening segment for SmackDown. RK, what did you think from this?
It's not a dream match. It's a must-win match.
There you go.
Yeah, man. Good little opening segment. The respect between the two, it bleeds through the screen. That's so cool. AJ Styles respects the shit out of Cody. Cody respects the shit out of AJ. I'm gonna say it again. They're gonna have a hell of a good fucking match, man. It's highlight of the night for sure. Big takeaway of this: at some point, Cody is gonna face someone who didn't know Dusty, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
honestly, if that does happen, which it has happened at some point, I have no clue what they were going to talk about. But for now, it does seem like there's a running trend of Dusty being brought into this, which, I mean, I've opened the last couple of shows now. Dusty Rhodes, Let's Get Funky Like a Monkey,
Yes,
baby.
sir.
Dusty
Let's
Rhodes
get
is a legend.
fucking like a monkey, baby.
I love Dusty, man. One of my all-time greats. So, yeah, I'm all for it. It was a good opening segment. It is a nice change from the usual contract signing, somebody gets smashed in the face, that shit. So I dig it. There's the mutual respect between the two.
But next we get into the draft. Triple H appearing, and he gets Cody to help him announce the first picks of the WWE draft. And I want to preface this by saying the WWE draft, there is protected individuals, which are the champions. The women's tag team champions are not protected because they can appear on both brands. And NXT superstars are available. NXT did not have any picks in this draft, which I kind of didn't like, but I get it. So everybody is available. So once I run down some of these picks, you'll understand what I'm saying. But well, actually, no, but the first pick was SmackDown since we were on SmackDown, and that was Bianca Belair to SmackDown. Raw selects Jey Uso as the number 2 pick. Pick 3 was NXT's Carmelo Hayes, and then pick 4 to Raw was Seth Rollins. So Carmelo Hayes, the first NXT call up from this draft, he actually came out on stage, called out Cody Rhodes to the match, and we get Cody Rhodes versus Carmelo Hayes later on in the night. But what was your takeaway from the draft picks and maybe Carmelo calling out Cody?
I'm going to start with Carmelo Hayes here. Him coming out, he already has the look of a veteran because he came out and the whoop that prick chant started, and he just shrugged them off like it did not matter.
He said, "I already did that." I was like, "Oh well."
Well, yeah, you didn't, but okay. So he does have the look of veteran already. He's the right call up to SmackDown. Getting drafted by SmackDown makes sense. I was a little shocked. Bianca Belair going number 1. I mean, good for her. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the number 1, like basically the number 1 overall pick. That's WWE showing a lot of confidence in Bianca. And she's gonna mentor Jade Cargill until she's ready for the main event scene. So I'm all for this, man. Seth Rollins getting drafted, even though he has basically broken fucking legs. Getting drafted that early, that's just he's gonna be back sooner than he's gonna be back this year.
I don't know. I hope this year. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
He's gonna be back this year. I don't think we're seeing him for a couple months, but I bet you he's back by SummerSlam.
That's okay.
I'm just saying. I mean, the dude the dude does have multiple times throughout his career shown how quick he can back from injuries. He's done it more than once. He's a worker. He loves the industry. He will come back if he feels he'll come back at 80% if he feels he can offer enough. I don't know if that's necessarily at his age a great thing to be doing, but this is why we love wrestling. These guys literally put their bodies on the line for us to enjoy the shit. So I love Seth for it.
Can I ask you a question then? We can both answer this, but I'll ask you first. Same scenario here. You are the GM of SmackDown, and I'll you be the GM of SmackDown. I'll be the GM of Raw. We're not gonna do the whole draft here, but same scenarios, champions protected, blah blah blah. You have the first pick in the draft. You're Nick Aldis here, and you come out there, and this is, say we're WWE 2K. We're playing WWE 2K here. You got the very first pick in the draft, and this is everybody that is rostered in WWE. Who are you taking number one? And then I'll rebuttal and I'll do pick two.
It's a toss-up. I'm going to say who I would take, and I'm going to follow it with who is like a millimeter. Do you guys use millimeters in the States?
Yeah.
A millimeter behind AJ Styles in this choice, but AJ Styles. I just said it. The guy right behind him, like literally, on his ass, like you're not like photo finish, Gunther.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna preface this by saying if you're taking AJ Styles officially number one, I'm taking Gunther number two for sure.
Yeah, it's
my wild card, man. If everything is cleared with him, Brock Lesnar would have been a shock pick, but I get it. Yeah, Gunther. In my opinion, honestly, I would have picked Gunther over AJ. But Gunther, man, Gunther's so good.
Gunther's there though. Gunther's right there, man. I love Gunther, but AJ Styles is my pick.
But there are your picks: Bianca to SmackDown, as well as Carmelo Hayes, Jey Uso, and Seth Rollins to Raw. Up next, we have the LWO versus Legado del Fantasma, and I'm just gonna spoil a little bit of this. If you haven't watched, watch. This is it, man. This is the final time we get this match, and I'm so happy for it.
Did you actually just tell people to watch the Legado del Fantasma and LWO?
Great matches, man, but it got kind of boring.
And if we're talking about WWE 2K, as WWE 2K will tell you in GM mode, the rivalry is getting stale.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was, and this is the final match with LWO picking up the win over Legado del Fantasma. And just to preface this, LWO was Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee defeating Angel Garza and Berto Carrillo. Now, this was the match was the match, but at the end of this match, Santos Escobar and Elektra Lopez come to the ring, and he says, "I'm not a liar. I did not attract Dragon Lee to put him out of the WrestleMania match," and shows footage that, of course, it was Carlito that attacked Dragon Lee. Carlito tosses Dragon Lee and attack Mysterio from behind before he runs away through the crowd. Obviously, it was Carlito. We kind of all knew that, right?
Well, we all know that the draft actually doesn't mean anything in WWE. No. I was hoping that they were going to change it up this year. It doesn't really feel like they did, but I wouldn't be quite, saying that this feud's over yet. Which is unfortunate, but I mean, nonetheless, this Carlito thing is going to play out to something yet. Did he not look confused as fuck though?
That's not me.
Like, dude, you're on the TV, and who else also had like that intrusive thought in the back of his head, like, oh my god, show the brawl out footage.
There you go. That's what they did. That was their rebuttal. We'll show backstage footage.
You know it's a shot. It's a shot. Yeah, man, I'm with you on this feud. It is stale. It's run its course. I'm not interested in it in any way whatsoever, and it's taken away from how amazing these guys are in the ring. Dragon Lee, Carrillo, Garza, they are good in the ring. So yeah, this feud is taken away from that skill. So yes, it's good that they're getting separated because yeah, I'm over it. I'm over it.
Moving along, Tiffany Stratton demands Nick Aldis to give her a title match against Bayley, but Aldis says, no, you will face Naomi tonight for a #1 contenders match to see who would take on Bayley at Backlash. Obviously, we did the predictions. We know how this goes. It's a triple threat match between the three. Real quick, there was a Braun Breaker squash match. He completely destroys Cedric Alexander in a quick match, which I was a little upset about. I kind of wanted Cedric to display it, but yeah.
So Braun Breaker has squashed 2 guys that have recently been released from the company.
Yeah, pray for Cedric.
Pray for Cedric, people, because that's a thing right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say about it. Squash match. Braun Breaker they're making him look as good as he is. So there is that. But let's carry on with the the WWE draft. Tori Wilson and Michelle McCool are going to announce round 2 of the WWE draft. So SmackDown selections were Randy Orton and Nia Jax. Nia Jax moving from Raw to SmackDown, and then Raw bounces back. They pick Liv Morgan, of course. And then they pick the man that just destroyed Cedric Alexander, Braun Breaker, going to Raw. Originally, he was signed to SmackDown, but now he has been drafted to Raw, implying that, hey, everybody is available. So Braun Breaker to Raw, Liv Morgan to Raw, or stays on Raw. Randy Orton stays on SmackDown. Nia Jax to SmackDown. What did you think of this?
Man, how good did Michelle McCool look? Oh,
woo. Shout out Michelle.
Tori. Yeah, Tori looks amazing. Tori's always been just bombshell, but Michelle McCool, I mean, Taker, lucky man. Brings me back to that video of Dom going, 2 mommies? Ooh, that's the Undertaker's missus you're talking about there. So
easy killer.
but yeah, what did you say about Michelle McCool? You said she was she was overlooked because of who she was who she was with at the time in the WWE.
Yep. I think she was.
I agree with that. Michelle McCool is actually a really good in-ring performer and just a very beautiful woman. The draft picks. Yeah, Braun Breaker, man. Braun Breaker. I cannot wait for this guy to actually get some real matches. These squash matches are starting to kill me a little bit. He's just so good in the ring, and yeah, I get it. You're pitching him as this like unbeatable guy, like Goldberg in the WCW or Brock Lesnar early in his career. He's the next great big thing, Man, put Braun with Paul. Oh, Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker.
That would be incredible.
There's something there. Yeah, the other draft picks, it makes sense. Nia Jax are really giving her a push. I get it. I don't get it, actually. I don't. She's still. I'm trying to be nice here. I really want to like Nia Jax. I do like Nia Jax a lot, but I just don't think she's that main card attraction. I'm sorry, I said it. Randy Orton, yeah, 100%. Liv Morgan, yep, 100%. Nia Jax, I'm sorry, I love you, but I don't get it. I don't get it.
We'll see. I mean, her stuff on Raw is kind of played out now, so it's a new little thing for her to cause a little chaos. Up
and
next,
also, I'm sorry, I missed over this. I did not like the fact that they had her in her bio. She was a former model. What are we doing? That's our.
She is.
No,
she was. She looked great. She looked fantastic.
She does look fantastic. She looks great. I'm just saying that putting that in there, it's just
doesn't really have anything to do with WWE.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything? But anyways, yeah, I didn't like that. I forgot about that, but yeah, I didn't like it.
Paul Heyman had a meeting with the Bloodline, Solo and Tama, to inform that Roman Reigns had withdrawn from the draft, and they were a little upset because they hadn't been drafted yet. Kevin Owens attacks Solo and Tama from behind. They try and split it up. Kayla Braxton is on the ramp where she's interviewing Bianca Belair. Where Belair says she hopes Jade Cargill was also drafted to SmackDown on night 2 because apparently Jade was not eligible to be drafted night 1 on SmackDown, but on Raw. I don't know. Damage Control shows up. Jade shows up and we have a stare down, but behind them, Kevin Owens and Tama Tonga are just brawling behind them as they brawl to the ring. Solo joins to beat down Kevin Owens with Tama in the ring. Randy Orton makes the save. I love this production so much, RK.
Man, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's attitude. It's attitude. I love it. I can't. That's all I got, man. I love it.
Yeah, that's what it's just so good. So good. Let's get into the round 3 of the WWE draft.
Dudley boys, get
Yes,
the table.
sir. They did the whole thing, get the tables, all that good stuff. The draft picks SmackDown drafts LA Knight and The Bloodline, which consists of Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Paul Heyman. And Raw drafts Ricochet and Sheamus. Ricochet and Sheamus staying where they were, and LA Knight and The Bloodline staying where they were. Makes sense, right?
It does, but then it also begs the question of what the fuck are we doing a draft for? I trust in the process, Triple H. I trust you, man. But yeah, this is just par for the course with most drafts. Nothing really big happens. Yeah, LA Knight, yeah. Bloodline, yeah. Ricochet, man, Ricochet, keep pushing that guy. I love watching him in matches. Little spoiler, I don't think that the final match has actually happened yet, but everybody already knows because it's all over Twitter. But he's the new Speed champion.
Yes.
Yeah, so
good choice.
That match hasn't actually aired yet, but he is the champion. It has been confirmed in multiple pictures. And Sheamus. Oh, Sheamus.
Burger.
I love that you're back, man. I love it.
But next, we have the WWE Women's Championship #1 contenders match, Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi. This ends in a no contest, though, because Nia Jax shows up and attacks Naomi and Bayley. Tiffany sets Bayley and Naomi up again to hit the prettiest moonsault ever. So this was Nia kind of announcing her presence, like, hey, I'm on SmackDown now.
Yeah, and in typical fashion, she's just doing exactly what she did on Raw, and
just trying to run roughshod.
I'm not for it.
Yeah. Fair enough, but this, of course, does set up the triple threat matches we discussed at Backlash between Tiffany, Naomi, and Bayley defending her title. This is where also we get announced that B-Fab and the Street Profits were backstage being interviewed, and it is announced that they would face A-Town Down Under for the WWE Tag Team Championships. It was not said that it would be a Backlash. Theory and Waller try to talk trash, but Bobby Lashley escorts them out of the backstage area. We get a little Final Testament promo, and then they get attacked by Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. And that was that. On to the next round of the draft, though. Round number 4. It's Teddy Long, playa, and JBL. They announced the next picks of the draft were SmackDown would take AJ Styles and Andrade. Andrade going to SmackDown. And Raw selects Alpha Academy's Chad Gable, Tozawa, Otis, and Maxine Dupree. And then the first, I guess you could call it the first shock of the draft.
It was a shock. shock.
Kiana James going to Raw.
Was not expecting that. Was not expecting that at all. Bravo. Kiana James, she's good. The shit she's been doing out in NXT. She recently had the match with Kalani Jordan, and we talked about that match where Kalani Jordan really stood out. But Kiana James, she's a good wrestler. She deserves to be up on the main roster. I wasn't expecting it. One thing and tell me if I'm wrong, but were you not kind of just when Teddy Long came out and the first pick for SmackDown is The Undertaker?
Yeah, that would have been funny. That would have been fucking. It would have made sense. It would have made 100% sense with who he is. But yeah, I agree with the draft picks. And Kiana was interviewed, and she said she was surprised that she got drafted, and I think we all were. But
yeah, and I love the fact that it almost seems like, and this happens on Raw too, but it's almost they didn't tell them ahead of time, so the reactions were genuine, and I love to see that because they just look so pumped to be up on the main roster.
And I mentioned it a second ago, but then we get Aldis and Teddy Long announcing backstage the matches with. Sorry, I was paying attention. The Indiana Pacers are playing the New York Knicks in the next round of the NBA playoffs. They just beat the Philadelphia 76ers. Anyway, this is where we get announced. Nick Aldis, Teddy Long announcing the triple threat match for the women's title, and the second match, which was the Bloodline versus KO and Randy Orton. And we now have the main event of SmackDown, which is Cody Rhodes taking on Carmelo Hayes. Cody's going to pick up the win here with the Crossroads, but it was a match to, hey, Melo looked pretty damn good in this match. Couple weird spots. We thought Cody was hurt. At the end of the match, AJ appears to confront Cody, and they have a nice little stare down to end the broadcast. What'd you think of this match between Cody and Melo?
So here's my take on that spot. They were in the middle of the ring. They both kind of tapped each other on the back, and they went. Everybody's kind of, oh, is that a botch? What's going on? Why would you? This is my take on it. They're positioning Carmelo to be a star. They really are. And my takeaway from this spot was Cody Rhodes is a tactician in the ring. He knows how to pick apart his opponents, but so does Carmelo. So they both had the exact same idea at the same time because they're both just that championship mentality brain, So that's what I took away from it. They both, in that moment, thought they could hit that big move to win the match. So that's my takeaway from it. It's my takeaway is that Carmelo is that guy. Take what you want from it. It wasn't a botch. It was planned that way. There's no way those two guys would fuck up that bad. But yeah, it was a nasty landing for Cody Rhodes. Some people said he might have been injured. I think it's all just a stinger, and they would have played it up more if he was potentially injured. The commentators and everything you would have known. So what else did I take away from it? I had something else in my thoughts on that. Oh yes, I've read people going, why would you do this to a guy that you're bringing up from NXT to be a top guy one day? Why would you squash him against the champion? People, that wasn't a squash match. It was an 8-minute match. So not even, you want a squash match, go watch any of Braun Breaker's last 22 matches. That was a rub from Cody to Carmelo. That's what it was. It was to give Carmelo the spotlight, main event match against the champion. Let the main roster, because not everybody watches NXT. Some people just watch SmackDown. Some people just Raw. Some people just don't pay attention to anything but just the one thing. And it's just a little showcase of what Carmelo is going to be on the main roster, and he's going to be a star. This was a rub from Cody all the way, not a squash in any way whatsoever. Everybody says it was a squash, you're a fucking idiot.
Before we get into Monday Night Raw, I was just opening up Twitter to see if anybody was talking shit about the Pacers, because that's the mood I'm in. But I saw this tweet from a guy on Twitter named CJ Talks WWE. He posted, you can only sign one contract. What are you picking? So, RK, I'm going to read out the contracts, and then you pick which one you would choose. It is a deal for Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. The Monday Night Raw contract is a 12-month contract, $500K salary. Your role is upper mid-card. Your mentor is Triple H. Your bonus is you get showcased on TV every week. The SmackDown contract, 12 months as well, $750K. Your role is a lower mid-carder. Your mentor is Stephanie McMahon. The bonus is guaranteed match at WrestleMania. Now the NXT contract is a 2-year deal, $250K. Your role is main eventer. Mentor HBK. Bonus a year-long run with the NXT Championship. Which contract are you signing?
Man, I would definitely take the WrestleMania spot 100%. But
yeah,
being mentored by Shawn Michaels, you can't beat it.
That's where I'm at. Give me the 2-year deal. I'm gonna work my ass off with the title. I'll probably get drafted and called up to one of the other 2 shows. But yeah.
Getting mentored by Shawn Michaels, that is everybody's. That's
yep.
Any wrestler that does not have respect for Shawn Michaels is lying. Everybody has respect for Shawn Michaels. That guy is a legend, and if he's giving you one-on-one advice to mentor you to become a better wrestler, superstar, look at Logan Paul. He had a month before his very first match to work with Shawn Michaels directly, and look how great that match was. So I'm taking the Shawn Michaels mentorship. You can pay me $100,000 over 2 years to work with Shawn Michaels for 2 years.
All right, I agree. I'm taking the NXT deal as well. Let's get into Monday Night Raw on April 29th. This was the next round, the final round of the WWE draft. Before we get to the picks, of course, Logan Paul is the opener here, coming out of a car, and he's talking to Patrick Mahomes. All the members of the Judgment Day are present, and it's all love between Logan and Damian Priest. I Show Speed also there making a cameo. But we get the kicked off show inside the ring with Becky Lynch saying that this is the arena where she became the man. Oh, that was a little Irish accent. The man. She now wants a new number one contender. Liv Morgan, of course, comes out and says she's owed it because she took out Rhea. Nia Jax, who just got drafted to SmackDown, doesn't really go into full effect until next week after Backlash. Nia says she has to go out with a bang, and one of these two women needs to face her before she goes to SmackDown, and Liv Morgan accepts her challenge. Any takeaways from the opening segments here?
Man, it's building up this Liv Becky thing, and that's why I think, like I said earlier in our prediction thing, you don't need a title match for Becky at this pay-per-view. If anything, have a spot between them and Liv, her and Liv at Backlash there, further along the story. Liv's revenge tour is going to take, it's a slow burn, and the payoff in the end is going to be worth it. So 100% I'm all for this opening. Liv and Becky, love them.
Let's get into the next picks here of the WWE draft. Stephanie McMahon is the one to announce the picks, and Raw's first selection is Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser, Imperium. No Giovanni Vinci, of course. Jade Cargill goes to SmackDown. Damage Control will be moving to Raw. That is Asuka, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Kyrie Sane, and then Kevin Owens goes to SmackDown. So only one change here, RK. What do you think of that?
Imperium's the right choice. It's basically the first overall pick of the night. That being Gunther. Obviously, Ludwig Kaiser right beside Gunther, especially after what he did to Giovanni, and that is why we don't have Giovanni a part of Imperium more. If I'm not mistaken, after the show went off air, Giovanni did get drafted to SmackDown. So yeah, it's a full split, and we're not going to have anything more with it. I don't think it was just taking Giovanni out of Imperium, and he's going to go on to SmackDown and do his own thing there now. I think so. I'm with it. It's the right choice. Gunther first overall.
We get Gunther in a match. He takes on Xavier Woods' first match of Monday Night Raw. Gunther does get the win. I wasn't too bought into this match, and I think you have a couple things about this match you didn't like. So go ahead. What do you think?
Why? I mean, Gunther's saying is he's methodical. He's a slow worker in the ring. I'm not usually a fan of that. I do love it when I see Gunther does it. He does it so well. Say what you want. Call me a Bryan Danielson hater because Danielson does basically the same thing. I don't care. I think Gunther does it better. Wow, I really just said that. Gunther, man. Stop with this shit of where guys have to try to match the other guy's style. Gunther runs his style. Xavier runs his style. It's a good match. This grew old and tired because it became a chop match. Yeah, I don't know why you got to have matches where other guys that don't run that style try to match the other guy's style. Just run your styles and have a banner match. That's all I got to say.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. Let's get into a little juicy drama, though. Jey Uso is being interviewed by Kathy Kelly, and that is not the important part. Because in the background, we see Liv Morgan walk out of a locker room, and then a couple seconds later, Dominic Mysterio walks out of the locker room. What'd you think of this?
Oh, somebody's going to get... wait, no. Somebody's gonna get fucked up when Reyes gets back. That's happening.
Over with. It's
that's
over
happening.
With. I can't wait. I
love this shit. This goes back. They've been doing this for a couple months now, and you pointed out to me the very first time. I was like, oh shit. This background stuff. You got to watch the shows closely because they've been doing this a lot, and it's cool. I love it. I'm not even sure what Jay Uso was talking about there, because all I could think about is, holy shit, that's Liv. Holy shit, that's Dom. And oh wait, Jay Uso was talking shit.
Yeah, he was talking. Yeah, it's good shit. We get the next draft picks, which are Speed and Logan Paul. They announced the second round draft picks, which is CM Punk to Raw, obviously. The Pride, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, plus B-Fab to SmackDown. A return, apparently, Braun Strowman, he's been drafted to Raw. And then Tiffany Stratton, of course, to SmackDown. And CM Punk to Raw, that makes sense. And Braun Strowman, though, was a pretty interesting, RK. What'd you think?
All right, well, first, this is perfect storytelling. CM Punk got drafted before Drew McIntyre.
Yes, sir. We'll get to that in a second.
Brilliant fucking move. Man, I was so pumped when Braun came out, man. Monster of all monsters, man. So happy the dude's back. I love Braun. I don't usually like giants. I like Braun Strowman, man. He's just got charisma about him. He's just so pumped that he's back. He could still be part of the Wyatt Six. I think he should definitely be part of the Wyatt Six. Bringing him back before that all plays out might, maybe he's not, but he does belong. He's Bray Wyatt, one of Bray Wyatt's best friends. I can't see how he's not a part of that. But regardless of any of that, Braun Strowman's back in the WWE, and he looks bigger than he used to look. Dude's a beast.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and he does make the appearance. Obviously, we get Logan Paul talking shit to the audience. Jey Uso will not beat Damian Priest at Backlash. He says Jey comes out. Judgment Day comes out. The number advantage gets the better of Jey. But then Mahomes, who is ringside, gives Logan Paul his Super Bowl rings. But he goes to hit Jey, and he hits JD McDonough, and we get a hysterical moment. I laughed so hard for this. With after JD gets popped by Logan, Finn, Logan Paul are just standing in shock as Jey Uso stands up and gets in between them. He slaps Finn on the chest. He's like, "Man, that's your man." And Finn's like, "I know." He taps Logan. He's like, "That's crazy." And Logan's like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Wait a minute, we gotta beat you up." This was gold.
So fucking funny. I was dying laughing too. Jay's like, "Oh shit, you just got knocked the fuck out," and Finn's like, "I know." So good. I don't know if that was planned or if that was improvised by Jay. Whatever it was, it was perfect timing. The shot, the camera angle, everything. Jay just comes into the picture and is like, "Oh shit." Ah man, so good. I love that. That's WWE does it the best. Nobody does it better than WWE when it comes to shit like that, man.
And we get more of good shit here. Chad Gable and R-Truth are backstage, and they worked out a deal, and Miz has no idea what's going on. Gable has worked out a deal with Truth to get Alpha Academy a World Tag Team Championship match. Tozawa and Otis will take on the Awesome Truth for the WWE World Tag Team Championships. Miz is very confused about what are you talking about, and Truth says he made me a good deal. It's a 2-for-1. It's a 2-for-1. It's just comedy gold here. And then Chad eats a haluva kick out of nowhere from Sami Zayn. This segment was funny and good storytelling.
Man, I wonder what NFL team's going to draft Truth. Man, this isn't the NFL draft. Yeah, that was protect our Truth at all costs. Everything he does is hilarious. Even the stuff that, it's sometimes it's a little cringe, but it's supposed to be cringe on purpose. It's just so good, man. We title shot tonight in exchange for two things later. That's the perfect trade, right? Man, and then that shot out of nowhere, Sami Zayn's boot just comes in and takes out Gable. Man, those camera shots, the camera work again. Sorry there, but I mean the camera works 10 times better since I can't remember his name now. It's been so long. Kevin Dunn is gone. So
yes, get rid of him. So he's so not good. Important. He is not important.
What's with WWE and I mean, no, Dunn. Kevin Dunn, Vince Russo. I thought it was Vince Dunn. That's why I get confused. I always think it's Vince Dunn. It's Kevin Russo. Anyways, nonetheless, both don't even have anything to do with WWE anymore, and the camera angles are just been on point. So bravo.
Up next, Booker T and Kathy Kelly are breaking down what they've seen so far in the draft, and Drew McIntyre gets shitty at Booker for praising CM Punk, and he's kind of shitty like, why have I not been drafted yet? We'll get to that here in just a second. Before that, we have the WWE Intercontinental Championship on the line. Sami Zayn defending against Bronson Reed. Sami wins by DQ because Chad Gable attacks Sami Zayn. This is where I thought maybe we were going to get a triple threat match. I think we will at some point, but apparently it's not happening. So, but what'd you think of the match itself? It really wasn't much of a match. It was more so just setting up the fuel, you think, for Chad and Sami?
Yeah, man, it's post WrestleMania hangover, man. This match didn't hit for me either. I'm not a Bronson Reed fan. I don't think he's that good. I don't get what the hype is. Maybe he was big down in NXT. I wasn't watching when he was down in NXT. I don't buy him. I'm not a fan.
I can't argue with you on that one. We'll get carrying on here with the draft. This is round 3 of night 2. The first pick for Raw was LWO, which is Rey Mysterio, still Carlito, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, Dragon Lee, and Zelina Vega. And this was Thank You, Jesus Lord. SmackDown selects Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Electra Lopez, Humberto Carrillo, and Angel Garza. Then finally, we get Drew McIntyre to Raw, and Shinsuke Nakamura will be going to SmackDown. And while we're watching this, I totally forgot that Shinsuke even got drafted because of what happened after this. Drew McIntyre cuts a promo, and then we get CM Punk's music. He's here. He's in the skybox. Drew gets super upset, runs away looking for him. CM Punk calls him a bitch. PG era is gone. Thank you, Jesus. So if you want to talk about the draft picks, sure, but I think you want to talk about what this was with CM Punk's music, and we have more Punk and Drew stuff coming up, so we don't need to get into it too much. We can just hold it off till then. But what'd you think?
Man, can we just say that CM Punk looks good? He's been working out. Careful of that tricep though. But he's not wearing a brace. He's looking better than he did during the Rumble. He looks in phenomenal shape. Man, when CM Punk is back, and if he's been working hard to get into that ring condition, man, we could be getting one hell of a run from CM Punk here, man. And I've been dying for this for 10 years. CM Punk, I mean, he's one of my all-time favorites. He's the reason I got back to watching wrestling when I didn't watch it for many of years. He is also the reason I watched AEW for the very first time ever. And I shit you not, the very first time I ever put on an AEW show was when I heard that CM Punk was showing up on AEW. That was the very first AEW show I ever watched because of CM Punk. And then shortly after that, we got that one of my all-time favorite matches, the Lucha Bros against the Young Bucks in the cage, was shortly after. I think that was at the pay-per-view that CM Punk came back on, actually. It was all I can't remember it. Double or Nothing?
Yes.
Yeah, so that actually was the first pay-per-view that Punk was back on as well from his 10-year hiatus. And yeah, so thank you, CM Punk. You made me watch AEW. I'm sure CM Punk made a lot of people watch AEW because he's a fucking draw. And I'm so pumped for when Punk is cleared to wrestle again because, man, so pumped.
Yeah.
I also do feel like a dick because we're both like, who was drafted last by SmackDown?
Yeah.
And I had to look it up, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Shinsuke. I'm so sorry. Shinsuke has WWE has. I'm critical of WWE in this case. They have not used Shinsuke up on the main roster at all throughout his entire main roster run correctly. Shinsuke is a New Japan legend, and I just felt like
Go ahead. Sorry, I'll say in a second. Damn. That's a
I,
damn.
I
Sorry. Julia Hart just posted on her Instagram stories. She is not looking great. I'll send you the picture real quick on Discord so you can react to it in real time. We did this on the other episode where stuff just happens as I scroll through Twitter. She's got a big cast on. She had a
oh,
surgery of some sort.
that
Um,
is that's
yeah.
not good.
So Julia Hart is injured. She's gonna be out for a while. She posted that picture with the caption "Recover, Rebuild, Reclaim." So speedy recovery to Julia Hart. She's young.
But
She's
damn,
got a lot of potential. That's a
that's a full
big
shoulder
yeah.
to arm. That's a full cast.
And I'll tell you what, I
Clean.
sent it to you on Discord, and then I'll post it in the post edit. Just that picture. I'll have that pop up since we're talking about it. But yeah, whew, that's tough.
God
Sorry to
damn.
interrupt, but yeah, I feel like that needed to be said.
Anyways, yeah. So Shinsuke Nakamura, New Japan legend. I've never enjoyed how the WWE has used him in the in. He was
Yeah,
perfect in NXT, up on the main roster, and
he had his few moments, man. I mean, I was really
I feel
disappointed
like
with
if
him and
Triple H was
AJ.
man, if I feel like Triple H was
Oh,
running WWE when Nakamura first came up, but now his momentum's gone. He's not that guy
we
anymore.
we got AJ versus Shinsuke Nakamura in WWE, and it did not live up to the potential. And I agree. If
It,
Triple H was running the thing when that happened, it would have been magical, but it just wasn't, and it fell flat. And I hated it,
yeah.
and it sucked. But that's what we
So,
got.
anyways, sorry to Shinsuke. We love you, but yeah, we totally because of Drew and Punk, we totally like who the fuck got drafted.
Up next was the match where you said, "Hey, Maxine Dupree looks really good in this match. She had a couple really good moments against Candice LeRae. LeRae does pick up the win with a little help from Indy Hartwell. Nothing much with this match. It was just really, hey, Maxine, she's getting better and better."
I'm gonna say this right now, and by the end of the show, I'll recap the whole thing. This is the best match of the night, and it was only a minute and 47 seconds long. Anyways, we'll get back to that by after the main event. But oh man.
All right. Well, Drew McIntyre, he is showing up in the suites looking for CM Punk. He finds the one that Punk was in. Punk left him a little autograph, signed a little picture of Punk. Punk's in the ring though. He says says that Drew McIntyre gave him a purpose, and that when basically CM Punk, when he returns, he will make Drew's life a living hell, which I feel like he already is already. This CM Punk Drew McIntyre rivalry is freaking amazing. And then here's the thing: when Punk comes back and they have this blow off, and then when it ends, there's this guy named Seth Rollins that's going to be waiting in the wings for him and CM Punk. It's so good, so good.
Man, fired up, angry CM Punk. There's nobody better. He is probably the greatest person on the mic in the history of wrestling. He has had so many memorable moments on the mic. His promo skill has by far overshadowed any of his in-ring work. He's a phenomenal in-ring performer, but put him on the mic, you're gonna get gold every time. He's just so damn good, and this was good, man. This was good. Yeah, and I totally get why you skipped right over Rey Mysterio mocking Dominic Mysterio's mustache earlier. I totally get why you skipped right over because Punk and
Oh
Drew.
yeah, sorry, I did. I did skip over that, didn't
I? But no, I get it. Drew and Punk are the main focal point of this show. It's so good, and yeah, you're right. As soon as this feud's over, Seth Rollins right there picking up the remnants of the basically the atomic bomb that's going to go off when these two meet each other in the ring. Man, it's so good. Oh.
Looking so much forward to it. Before we get to the next match, we have more draft picks to announce. Alundra Blaze and Teddy Long are doing the next ones. Raw selects Judgment Days, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough. Obviously, Damian Priest is protected to Raw because he is the champion. Naomi to SmackDown, and then the next WWE NXT call-up, Ilya Dragunov to Raw. and I cannot wait for when him and Gunther cross paths. We'll get into that in a second, but let me just read off the last one. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven to SmackDown. We'll get into that too, but whew, Ilya to Raw. Give me Ilya Gunther. They can wrestle every week. I don't care. Do it every week.
Man, they've already had banner matches in the past. They're going to continue that on Raw now. And King of the Ring, I can't see how it's not Gunther Ilya in the finals. It has to be.
Yes.
It has to be. Man, so pumped for that. I've been waiting for that to happen. It was as soon as a few weeks ago, once you started to realize Ilya's moving up to the main roster, you're like, Ilya Gunther, let's go. First thought that pops in your head. I'm sure that's very similar to a lot of people. If anybody's ever seen their past matches, they put on banners. Rhea Ripley, not mentioned as part of Judgment Day. That's interesting because she's not a champion, technically. She had to give up her championship, and she's only injured. Carlito was announced as an LWO member still, but Rhea's not mentioned as a... It's weird, man. And Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, Adam Pearce is probably the happiest man on the face of the planet when he heard that.
Yes, and he was. He 100% was. Liv Morgan and Nia Jax is the next match. Liv does pick up the win. In the middle of this match, Tiffany Stratton is ringside, looking fantastic as always, but then she gets attacked by Naomi. This is payback from, of course, SmackDown. This was just, it was a match, man. It was a match. Storytelling.
It's a trend when your best match on the card is Maxine. That's not good. Nothing against Maxine. Obviously, I talk her up every week. She's been looking more and more amazing. But this whole show, man, the matches, none of them did it for me. It just was not a good wrestling show. If you want, fuck. Now I sound like an AEW guy, but no, it was not a good wrestling show. It was a good storytelling show. But the wrestling matches all fell flat, and we haven't even gotten to the main event yet. And, I read some things. People said it was actually a really good match. I just didn't feel the heat in it. And that's where I put the most criticism towards AEW is I don't feel the heat in a lot of their matches. And you need that. You need that heat in the match, man. This whole show just was falling flat for me on the matches.
Let's get into some more draft picks then. The Dudley Boys are back to announce the round 5 picks of the draft. New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods to Raw. They stay on Raw. Pretty Deadly, Kit Wilson and Elton Prince stay on SmackDown. Our next kind of surprise, we didn't really see it coming, Lyra Valkyria called up to Raw from NXT, and then Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell to SmackDown. I think the shock here was Lyra going to Raw.
Looking back on it, it's not a shock. She was just the women's champion in NXT. It's a shock to you and I because we're both not fans.
Not the biggest fan of Lyra. I think she's pretty good in the ring. I just don't get her promos fall flat to me.
Yeah, so I think that's more of this you and I not being fans of her. And yeah, when you really think about it, she was the NXT champion. And really, where do you go from there? So it's main roster. Main roster.
That's all she had left to do. And we'll get to one of the next draft picks here in just a second. It's kind of the same thing. She had nothing left in NXT. Before we do that, World Tag Team Championship, Awesome Truth retains against Alpha Academy. There was really nothing special with this match. Truth and Miz retain. Anything to add to this?
No, it was another match that, like, what are we doing? Like, less than 2 minutes. Second match on the whole night. Third match, no, second. When did Braun have his squash match? Was that this show or SmackDown? Anyway,
SmackDown.
Less than 2 minute match. Maxine's match was less than 2 minutes, and man, I am. Mm-hmm. Bad bookings tonight. No, I did not like any of these. This show fell flat. Thank God CM Punk, Drew McIntyre saved it, and the other shit that was going on. But yeah, it was a tough 3 hours to get through for match-wise.
Yeah, it really was. 3 hour show. It was Maybe when they go to Netflix, it's back to 2 hours. I don't know. Uh, we get the final draft picks of the night, though. This is the actual final draft. Final. We quote this TV draft picks. There were picks that were made online, and I didn't even get to them, and it's okay. The big one we do want to point out: Dijak is going to Raw. That's all we really care about, right?
Let's go, Dijak. You said it. He's having such a good run on NXT. It's hard to want him to leave NXT, but the whole point of this is NXT's developmental. We all know Dijak's been up on the main roster before as a different character. Dijak, if they keep, and this is why I'm so happy that Triple H is in charge now and Shawn Michaels in charge in NXT. Triple H used to develop these guys, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. He would develop these guys and make them big stars in NXT, get up on the main roster, and they become jokes because a certain McMahon would just fuck with their character and just destroy any momentum they have. So thank God that this is Shawn Michaels passing his students up to Triple H to turn into superstars because it doesn't get better. So yeah, no, it's so glad it's this way now because man, Dijak under Triple H, if he's gonna keep the same character, he's hilarious, he's a good in-ring worker, he's a just crazy shit for a big man. He's gonna have a better run on the main roster this time.
I really hope so. Let's get into the final draft picks. Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis will announce them. Raw selects the final testament, carrying across Scarlett, Akam and Razar, and Paul Ellering. DIY will be going over to SmackDown. Bronson Reed stays on Raw. And the final pick of the television draft picks, Blair Davenport gets the call up from NXT to SmackDown. This was kind of a shock, but at the same time, like you said with Lyra, there was nothing left for Blair Davenport to do in NXT, and I'm excited to see what she can do on SmackDown. What do you think?
I buy Blair Davenport on the main roster more than Lyra.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I agree.
I like her character. Her in-ring work's good. She'll be a good fit up on the main roster. What was I going to say here? Oh, totally sidetracked by the Blair Davenport signing. Adam Pearce, his suit.
Oh,
his
yeah.
suit, man. That was I don't know if it was a bad timing choice or if it wasn't intentional or what, but I mean, that's a Jim Cornette suit. And Jim Cornette,
he said on social media, he put on social media it was a nod to Jim Cornette. He said that.
So Jim Cornette's taken a little heat in the recent week here with his first Strickland episode of his own podcast. I don't know if it was, I can't imagine Jim Cornette's that dumb to do that as a direct hit, or if it was just a poor choice, or I don't know. I'm not the dude. I'm not going to try to make excuses for him. It came off in very poor taste what he did. So yeah, Adam Pearce, he took some heat on social media for that, did he not?
Yeah, he did. He actually started blocking people that were talking shit, but yeah, there you go. That was that. That was the final television draft picks. We get Becky Lynch informing Liv Morgan backstage that they will fight for the Women's World Championship, and then Damage Control shows up and just kind of laughs at Becky. This leads us to the main event of the night, which really, man, I wasn't too bought into. Jey Uso, Andrade, and Ricochet taking on Judgment Day's Priest, JD McDonough, and Finn Balor. The babyfaces get the win over Judgment Day, but I don't really have much to add to this match. It was a match, and I didn't pay much attention to it, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because I did read online that it was actually a pretty good match. I'm with you. I kind of checked out. The show had dragged. The draft was pretty much predictable, except for a few spots that were surprises. The matches all fell flat. I kind of checked out by this point. I might go back and watch the match again because I have read that it was actually a pretty good match. But this is a shot of AEW, but this just felt like it was just a match thrown together for the hell of throwing a match together. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go back and rewatch it, and then on next week's podcast, I'll give an honest opinion on it because yeah, I'm with you. I kind of checked out by that point. The show had dragged so much, and I was tired, and I was like, man, this show is not ending. So it wasn't drawn raw, by any means. It was pretty outside of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. It was pretty.
I think it was just boring. More show. Here's the draft. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, I was. It was a very boring Raw, except for like outside of like the 15 minutes of CM Punk Drew McIntyre shit.
All right, let's dive into WWE NXT Spring Break-In night number 2. This is the April 30th, 2024 episode. We kick things off with the newly crowned NXT champion, Trick Williams, where he thanks Ilya for him being a fantastic champion and pushing Trick to be the best version of himself. And he says that this is the whoop that era of NXT. Lash Legend appears with an envelope congratulating Trick on the win. And then there is a nice little back and forth.
A nice little back and forth.
A provocative, a sensual, flirtatious back and forth of Trick Williams and Lash Legend, as we have noticed.
I've seen less compelling porn videos than that one.
I'm here for the story. Anyway, yeah, I mean, as you know, we know, and maybe some people don't, but maybe they do. Trick Williams and Lash Legend, outside of the professional wrestling world, they are together as a couple. So nice little flirting where Trick says something along the lines of, "You want to take a bite of this Reese cup? You want to whatever?" And Lash says, "Boy, everybody knows my favorite candy is a Kit Kat." And Trick says, "Well, let me break you off then." And I just was like, okay, this is what we're doing, huh? And Lash at the end of it says that, enjoy your run as a champion because I got all the truths in this envelope right here, and it'll all come crashing down soon. What did you think of the open here with Lash and Trick?
Oh, sure. Ask me as I'm eating a cookie.
Dude, no, we'll do it on the podcast. Talk about the cookies.
Dude, these cookies are amazing. No, they're amazing. They're like chocolate. My wife makes them. They're the best.
Yeah, and like you have yet to send any to Indiana.
Yeah, I don't know. Isn't that like some kind of FDA violation?
No way. You can send cookies across state lines, right? Or country lines.
Country lines.
I'm gonna Google it. Google it.
You should.
And I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not even going to tell you if you can or not. Just know if you can, my address is popping up in your DMs.
Yeah, but anyways, there's a chocolate chip cinnamon bun swirl cookie. It tastes like a chocolate chip cinnamon bun in a cookie form. It's so good. Anyways, what did we? Yeah, man, this open. Oh, steamy. These two are fun together. They should definitely interact more in the ring because that was like vibes, man. Man, I was getting hot. Damn, that was good. That was a good opener. I'm all for it. That was awesome. That was so good.
Sorry,
you're actually looking. Okay, you actually.
Yeah. You can send snacks and stuff to the United States. You have to fill out a customs form declaring what is in the package and the value of each. You can do it online before you go to the post office through Canadian Post website, and they will give you a QR code that you give to the clerk to scan or complete. I know it's a lot of work, but I'm just saying.
I love how you called our postal system Canadian Post when it's Canada Post, but thanks.
Yeah, I love this opening segment of either send me the fucking cookies or give me the recipe.
How do I even value? I gotta put the value of these. I don't know how much they fucking are. $20 a cookie. I don't fucking know.
Jesus Christ! I know things are kind of.
They are that good though.
Tell your wife that, hey, maybe just throw the recipe this way. I got people that know how to bake. I'm not saying they'll be as good. They probably won't be, but damn. You hype them up every time. We'll talk about hyping things up. Ariana Grace and Gigi Dolan are at dinner together as they preview the show and what's to come on the show. The funniest parts of this, and you can attest to this, when they're sitting down and Gigi and Ariana's trying to tell her to be more ladylike. And Gigi burps really loud, and before she even burped, I was saying, "Please burp, please burp." She did. This was a fantastic little thing back and forth with Ariana and Gigi previewing the show. RK, what'd you think?
All right, ladies, we all know Kurt's fetish. So, anywho,
Burping?
yeah, okay. You're all for it, man. I was like, oh,
I
shit,
was. It was for the story. It was for the story. Um,
so
I did have to mute my mic, but that's besides the point.
this was a cool opening. They were doing the little sit down at dinner, dining etiquette for a lady, and they were going through all the matches for the night's spring breaking matches. So that was cool. I liked the opening. It was fun. And yeah, you're right. He's like, please burp. That'll be perfect burp. And it's like, yeah, obviously she's going to. And yeah, in a way, it made her more endearing in some weird, twisted way.
Whatever you got to say. The first match was the NXT North American Championship on the line. Oba Femi versus Ivar. Oba does pick up the win in a fantastic, hard-hitting match. The finish was, wow. Oba with the pop-up powerbomb on Ivar was freaking stupendous. Let's talk about the match real quick, and we'll talk about what happened after. What did you think of the match itself, RK?
Exactly as advertised. Two big, strong guys beating the shit out of each other. And, yeah, I mean, so good. I mean, as Big E would say, it's two big, meaty men going at each other. It's a meat match. Yeah, not much more to say. It was a good match. It was really fucking good.
After Oba gets the win and he attempts to celebrate, some music hits, and you got a really good pop from me. Wes Lee has returned from injury, and I'm so excited for RK. You get to watch this man next week on NXT. He will have a match with Josh Briggs. That's announced later in the show, but Wes Lee will take on Josh Briggs next week on NXT. You haven't seen a Wes Lee match yet, I don't think, RK. I am a big Wes Lee fan. He is so good in the ring. And I popped pretty good for this one. I guess you really don't know much about Wes Lee, but yeah, what'd you think? Wes Lee's back.
I know I make him a jobber in WWE 2K.
That's a mistake. You're gonna regret that. You're gonna regret that. You're gonna be a fan.
You fucking popped hard, man. You're like, what?
Whoa.
What?
Where have I been wrong with the people I've hyped up right now? Hey,
you're right. You're right. You do know your. Yeah, this is why we're wrestling. This is why we're friends. I tell you, you tell me. We both like, yeah, you're right.
Let's just put it out there. I'll save it for a second. Carry on. No, fuck it. I'll say it now. What I was gonna say is, what was the very first match we basically watched together? Was it the besides pay-per-views, but there was the first NXT match I made you watch was the NXT North American Championship, the six-man ladder match.
That was
that is the match. I will show that match, and I'll be like, this is one of my favorite NXT matches of all time, if not my favorite. Whew. Banger of a match, and I'm gonna speed forward with this a little bit. It is announced later in the show that the NXT North American Women's Championship will be defended in the same stipulation, 6-women tag team match. They're going to do a combine to see who's worthy. 12 superstars will be chosen. They will all have matches to determine the 6 that will battle for the NXT North American Women's Championship at NXT Battleground, which is held in the UFC Apex. So it just made me have flashbacks. But yeah, that's just kind of a backstory of what I show people, and I was happy to present you with that match.
Yeah, you weren't wrong, man. That match went hard.
Dave Meltzer gave it 5.
Yeah, and it deserved it. You're right. When you hype me up for something, yeah, you're usually not wrong. Like I said, you and I, we have very similar tastes in wrestling. And yeah, no, I'm pumped to see what Wesley's got. So bring it on.
Before we get to the next match, which is Thea Hale versus JC Jane, backstage, Chase U, Fallon Henley is back there with him too, where Thea has to persistently ask Kayla if she'll Henley if she will join Thea at ringside, and eventually, Thea's overcomingness of herself convinces Fallon Henley to join them ringside. This brings us to the match: Thea Hale versus JC Jane. Thea picks up the big win with a submission, a Kimura lock. There's so much to talk about with what happens after this match. Before we get to the shocking part, man, JC Jane, throughout the match, she kind of was grabbing at her nose, and I didn't see any blood. The match ended, and she was ringside getting helped out, and Jasmine Nixon and her are there, and JC Jane was just pouring blood out of her nose. Whew, what do you think happened there? Because I didn't see anything in the match that made me go, oh, her nose.
No, there was nothing in the match. I actually watched it again after you went to bed last night. Yeah, last night after you got off last night. I watched that match again because I wanted to see if there was any spots in that match, and there wasn't any spots where she took any shots to the face. Even in the Kimura finish, her face was fine there. So I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a nosebleed. She was grabbing at her nose a lot during the match. Nonetheless, it made for one hell of a visual, and she looked menacing with that, and the blood was pouring. It was dripping, and I was just like, God damn. And yeah, the announcers, they made no mention of it whatsoever throughout the match, after the match. No mention of it whatsoever. I haven't seen anything posted anywhere online about it, so I think it was probably just a nosebleed, to be honest with you.
Aggressive nosebleed.
But did it give her a look in the end there? It looked good. But yeah, this match. This is a perfect.
Let's just talk about it. Let's go ahead and talk about it. We're about to be a house divided up in here. Fallon Henley turned on Thea Hale. I'm just gonna let you go.
That did happen. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't. Nope. That Fallon's now dead to me.
Okay. Maybe Thea Hale should stop being so over the top.
No,
Did you ever think about that?
No, Thea Hale should be over the top. It's her charm. It's her fucking charm.
But let's talk about it.
What do you want to talk about?
Maybe she's the problem. Maybe she's the problem.
No. Oh, maybe Rey Mysterio's the problem.
Maybe he is. Deadbeat dad.
Wow. This is taking a very... Why do you hate Thea? What did she ever do to you?
I don't hate Thea. I love Fallon Henley.
She's on the NXT banner now. She's
good for her. But what did Fallon... what is Fallon supposed to do? Fallon didn't want to go out there. She didn't want to go out to the ring with Thea. She was just in her own world. She's like, good luck, Thea. But Thea, being Thea, wouldn't stop. She wouldn't stop. She couldn't take no for an answer. Fallon didn't want to go out there. And what did Thea do? She just begged and was Thea. And Thea can be Thea. But clearly it's not working because she ain't got no girlfriends. Because she couldn't stop. And Fallon, and I will date back to the one match where Thea and them got a win, and Fallon looked pretty pissed off staring at Thea. I don't know what happened there, but I watched Fallon get in the ring after this match, and she got kind of bumped into by Andre Chase's clumsy ass. And what is Fallon supposed to do? Huh? Thea's got to calm down.
Thea can keep her bubbly, lovely personality.
Okay, then she doesn't need any friends. She doesn't need friends.
Well, no, she does need friends because she's
needs to take a Ritalin, some Adderall. Calm down sometimes.
Probably, actually, a little bit, but
okay.
Let's be serious here. This whole angle a little weird. No real build up to it, but
kinda. And you said
there's little. Fallon did look a little pissy in that one match, and but I mean, if that was the case, why did Fallon take that shot for Thea if she was just planning on turning on her right afterwards? Maybe she was looking for like a little acknowledgement that she saved Fallon from getting taken out. I mean, Thea from getting taken out.
She did.
So maybe that was a bit of it. It's a little weird. Not completely out of left field, but not enough build up to it either, in my opinion. It does feel like Thea just does get fucked over by all her friends. So
Yeah, a little bit.
there's a definite trend there. And yeah, this match is a perfect example of how your view of your favorites, like you with Will Ospreay. Not that Will Ospreay puts on bad matches. That's not what I'm trying to say, because Will Ospreay really doesn't. Outside of maybe Shibata. But this match wasn't actually that great. I did watch it. I told you I watched it again, but it wasn't actually that good of a match. But I just liked the Hale so much that I thought it was a good match. So I get it. Yeah, this whole thing is this must end the feud between Thea and JC.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's done.
You got to think it does, and now it's opening up Fallon Henley and Thea to maybe go at it. But yeah, this feud between JC and Thea, I think this wraps it up, and this is just storytelling moving on. Fallon Henley's probably gonna have. We're gonna get an answer next week. I'm sure we are. So. Yeah, I mean, in the end, we can goof around about it and shit and stuff, but yeah, in the end, it was a good finish to a feud, and it's potentially starting another one. So it's storytelling, but overall, the match was okay, but it wasn't anything fantastic. But I do love Thea, so I think it was a 22.5-star match.
We get Carmen Petrovitz and Natalia training backstage. The main event will be Natalia versus Lola Vice in an NXT Underground match. The next match on the night, though, was the Good Brothers taking on Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Iguaye. They have been hyped up the past 2 weeks with video packages. And honestly, both of them looked really, really good in this match. It was literally just a showcase of those two. Go what they have, but in the end, the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, get the win. What'd you think of that match?
For being under 5 minutes long, it felt longer than that. And not in a bad way. Not in a bad way, not at all. Tyson DuPont and what's his name? Tyreek Iguaye.
Yeah.
They do look good. We did get those hype videos. I'm like, who are these guys? And we got to see that tonight. So they did look good. They're big, strong boys. And that one, the dude must be like 300 pounds or close, and like big, like muscle. It's just big fucking dude. He did a kip up. And you were like, holy fuck, that dude just did a kip up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. These guys are athletic as hell. They got a good match. And again, this isn't two veterans squashing two younger guys. This is giving them a rub. The OC, the Good Brothers, they are legends in the business. Carl Anderson looked amazing again in this match. They're giving them a rub, but you can't always expect these young guys to come in and just squash, be getting wins right away. They got a little adversity, They came in, they looked good, but you took the loss. No, move on. Can you bounce back from that? That shows character. So I like what they're doing with these. You can't always be giving the wins to the new guys. It's a rub. That's how it's a rub from the Good Brothers. It's not a bad thing that those two lost this match. It doesn't hurt them. It made them look good in this match. It's just two rookies coming in and beating the OC. Like, that's kind of unbelievable in itself, right? Unless you're like Brock Lesnar or Goldberg or I guess Braun Breaker. But even Braun Breaker, he was a heel in NXT for a long time, and he wasn't squashing everybody when he first came in. So, yeah, I'm all for this. A little adversity is not a bad thing for up-and-coming talent. Give them something to fight for. Make them like, we're better than that. We should have got the one, but we didn't. But we're going to come back stronger. We're going to get the next one. So, shit like that. So, good match. Good, quick little match. Big guys going at it hard. Carl Anderson always looks great. Luke Gallows does his giant shit. And, yeah, these two kids, they look good. It was a good match.
Up next, as I mentioned, the NXT Women's North American Championship will be decided in a ladder match at NXT Battleground, a 6-women ladder match. Ava came out to make that announcement. Jada Parker interrupts says she's gonna win the ladder match. Sol Ruka comes out and says, "Nah, nah, I'm gonna win the ladder match." Ariana Grace shows up and asks the women in the ring to have some decor, but then they get interrupted by Mia Yim. Says that she wanted in an NXT Battleground and she will be in the combine to decide who gets to do it, and she will vie for that first person to win the NXT Women's North American Championship. What do you think of this little back and forth? And I just say, Jada Parker, I do like her. I think she's really good in the ring, but she had got to stop talking. She was talking the whole time in her mic. Even like there was little breaks, and then she would talk, and I'm like, stop talking, please. But there you go.
I'm kind of glad you brought that up because I would be like, I was just about to ask you, like, so Jada Parker, new favorite wrestler? Nishin, fuck, she looked good.
Yeah.
I like this. I like these veterans coming down from the main roster. It's not a bad thing. They're coming down. They're giving their star power, their knowledge to the younger talent. That's what you need to do. And it just adds a little bit more credibility to the match in a way. Yeah, we were sitting there talking like, oh, who's going to be in this? Who's going to be in that ladder match? And we were throwing out names, and it's just like it's hard. And it goes to prove that Ava's not wrong. NXT probably does have the best women's division in all of pro wrestling. Because we were sitting there like, okay, well, the obvious choices are this, and then we're like, what? They have so many women superstars that could be in that match and put on a great match. So I'm all for it. I mean, whoever's in it, it's going to be a good match. I still stand by what I said, and you were a little shocked, but I think we all know Thea's probably destined for a bigger title.
I think so too. I think that builds with her and Fallon. It could be wrong. It could be for this title, but I think there may be something more there because Roxanne needs somebody. But we'll get to Roxanne in a bit. But yeah, I agree.
So anyways, I'm going back on which my pick kind of shocked you, and I'm sticking to it. I think Sol Ruka is our first North American women's champion.
After some time and thought, I kind of agree with you. I think she could be the one because when she hits that soul snatcher off a ladder,
she can snatch my soul.
Yo, same. Anyway. The Street Profits are hyping up Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Says that the AOP did not have the heart. They don't have the heart that Axiom and Frazier have, and they tell him, don't slow down. And you mentioned Montez Ford. How does he do that shaking thing? It's Montez Ford, man.
It's so weird every time he does it. Every time I see him do, I go back to that. Was it Dom? Was it Dom who was standing in the aisle and fucking he did that whole thing from all the way from the Titantron right up behind him and then yelled at him when he turned around?
Yeah, yes.
Man, every time I see Montez do that shake thing, I just think of that clip and it's just, oh man, Montez. It's only a matter of time, man. Montez is going to be, he's going to be a top villain in the WWE as a single star. It's only a matter of time.
We got the next match on the night, Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler were training ahead of the main event. And then we get Ridge Holland versus Shawn Spears. He gets the win. Ridge over Shawn with a Redeemer DDT. We're getting closer. I think we both said this. Ridge is getting closer and closer to just snapping, and I'm okay with it if he does.
This is what Shawn Spears. There's something more to Shawn Spears. This whole he had that weird the promo where we thought, well, is this Uncle Howdy shit, and it turned out to be Shawn Spears.
Right.
There's more to Shawn Spears, and I think I love this angle. I've always been for these angles. He's trying to, they've done this in the past with other storylines. I can't think of any off the top of it, but they've definitely done this whole thing like, I'm going out there, I'm gonna turn him, I'm gonna make him snap, I'm gonna make him become that monster that he is, right? So I'm all for this angle. There's moments in his matches where he's really pushing for it. I'm just Shawn Spears. He's been doing good since he's been back, and he's pushing guys. He's trying to make something out of Ridge Holland here. So if there's something that can bring Ridge Holland back from, the controversy of him and the Big E situation, I think Sean Spears can be that guy to get Ridge Holland back. I mean, it's already showing. He's not being booed anymore. People aren't saying shit.
Yeah.
Ridge Holland's coming back, and this is good. And I think Sean Spears this whole storyline with Sean can really work for Ridge. I'm all for Ridge coming back. That whole retirement speech, stepping away hiatus thing was a little weird, but I get it. They're trying to figure out where Ridge Holland fits into the whole thing, and because obviously they're trying to keep. They want him to succeed. They wouldn't be doing all this if they didn't want Ridge to succeed. So I'm all with it. And if there is a guy, Sean Spears he's an excellent mentor. He's already made it on. He's producing stuff for NXT now too. So he's that guy, and he can definitely do it for Ridge. I'm digging this whole storyline thing. And I think we will get maybe now that I think about it, maybe we don't. Maybe this is Ridge's redemption. He's going to be pushed to the edge, but he won't fully snap because he's a better person. We'll see where it goes, but I'm all for it.
I'll cut through these next things pretty quickly. We get Roxanne Perez backstage throwing a tantrum with Ava saying, "How was I not drafted to the main roster?" And then Ava has to say, "Hey, stupid, the champions are protected, so you weren't eligible to be drafted." That was that. Ava leans over.
I'm you know what? I wasn't on board with Ava earlier on, but I'm really starting to like Ava now. She's really growing into this role. She's doing such an amazing job, and that interaction was hilarious. I loved it.
And before we get to the next one, Ava does lean into her door and says, well, guess we'll have to arrange things for later. Sorry. Paul Ellering says, just sends a warning to all divisions in WWE is that, and promising Final Testament is coming for all titles. We get the D'Angelo family driving around where Tony says he will win the NXT Heritage Cup from Charlie Dempsey. We get the NXT Tag Team Championship match. This is from Fightful. The supersonic duo of Axiom and Nathan Frazier defeating the authors of Pain, Akam, and Razar with a nice little roll-up. How did they get to the roll-up, you may ask? Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, New Catch Republic, catch Akam with an enziguri kick while the referee was distracted, allowing Axiom to get the roll-up. New Catch Republic, I like this. I like them just showing up and taking some shots, retaining the supersonic duo of Axiom and Nathan Frazier. What do you think of this tag team match?
It was a very simple match. It was just a simple match, but it worked.
Fast guys, two fast guys versus two big guys. That's what it was.
Why reinvent the wheel here? It was a good match. Like I said, they played to their own strengths and instead of trying to meet the other. You know what I mean? They played to their own strength. It looked good. The finish is good. I mean, this is pretty much what New Catch has been doing up on the main roster anyway, so it all fits into the whole scheme of things. Yeah, it was a good match. I mean, I don't really have to dig into it too deeply. It was just a simple, solid wrestling match.
We get backstage stuff with Ridge Holland checking on Thea Hale with Chase University, and Andre Chase says to Ridge, "If you need anything, let me know." Interesting there. We get back in the parking lot where Metaphor, Last Legend, Jakar Jackson, Oro Mensah, and Noam Dar. They invite the NXT champion Trick Williams to be on the Supernova sessions next week. We learned that he will be. And Kalani Jordan confronts Fallon Henley and asks Fallon, what was that? What are you doing? And Fallon just says it's time for her to focus on herself. We get a funny little segment with Indris Inofo, Malik Blade, and Brindley Reese. There was a mirror that broke on last week's episode of NXT. Reese said she brought something else that'll cheer you guys up. 2 black cats. And Inofe was bamboozled because now he's afraid that it's going to be bad luck. So that's the story with those guys with bad luck. Anything you want to add before we get to the main event?
We got to start doing video at some point for these, but I've just was shaking my head through that whole thing because it's just like, oh, this will cheer black cats. Are you fucking like, come on? Yeah, it was a fun little. I like what they're doing with that. It's fun. They broke the mirror last week. They got the black cats this week. I mean, not looking good for that group. let's just back up. Ridge, kudos,
Yeah.
man. You checked on Thea. You know, you're a good guy. See, Thea's got friends, okay? That's all I got.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, sure. I agree. Yeah, she just got friends. She got Chase U. She ain't got no girlfriends though. She's too much.
Yeah.
The NXT Underground match: Lola Vice versus Natalia. This match was good until the finish. I think we had a lot of moments of, is Shayna or Carmen gonna get involved, which they did. The end comes where Shayna puts Carmen in a chokehold. Natalia releases the sharpshooter on Lola, goes to help Carmen. She does. But then another interference from Shayna on Natalia causes the distraction. The finish I did not like. Lola Vice wins via TKO with a spinning back fist. Anything with this match you wanted to talk about?
This match was better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
A lot better than I was expecting, actually, to be honest with you. I enjoyed the match, and I'm with you 100%. That finish, like, come on. Yeah, you're doing so good up until that point, and then why would Natalia, like, that finish? WWE they have this problem once in a while, and it's very glaring when they do it, but it's like they can't figure out how to finish some matches, so they just do a stupid finish, and it drives me insane every time I see it. And this was just, you had a great match going on, and then all of a sudden you just had that dumbass finishing, and it just kind of just takes away from the fact that you just had a great match, and it just overshadows that fact because you had a dumb finish. So yeah, what more can I say? Really, I'm with you. It was a good match up until the finish. It was just a dumb finish.
The real finish of NXT was Roxanne Perez and Ava watching the ending of the match. Ava revealed to Roxanne that here's your next opponent. It's Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green on NXT will be taking on Roxanne Perez next week for the NXT Women's Championship. And listen, I kind of want Chelsea Green to win.
I'm all for Chelsea. Chelsea, I love Chelsea Green, man.
She wins, right? And Roxanne gets her call up. She trades places with her. There you go. Sold.
That's fair. You know, Roxanne. Sorry, you just said Roxanne. That's not Chelsea Green. She has been getting a shit ton of TV time lately.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show that if you have a purpose, it's a show, right? It's wrestling, but it's also entertainment. And if you can add elements of entertainment to a show without actually having to wrestle all the time, you're invaluable to the company, because in the end, whatever anybody wants to say, AEW, WWE, well, maybe not New Japan, because they really are just a wrestling show, with 22 tag matches on a pay-per-view every time. But that's not a shot at New Japan. I love New Japan. Their shit's awesome. They are a little crazy with their tag matches, though. It's entertainment. In the end, it's entertainment. We're not tuning in just to watch two dudes covered in oil to beat up on each other. Like, we're tuning in for stories, to be entertained and have, just kind of forget about the rest of the world at the time and just have a good time watching it. So if you can be an entertaining character without having to put on banner matches, you're invaluable to a company. And that's what Chelsea Green is. She adds all the stuff she does. It's hilarious. She just has this aura about her that just charisma. She's fun, and I love to see it. And I keep saying that a lot about I love wrestling. I love to see this shit because it's all fun. It's all good. It just takes my mind off of this shit. It's fun. I love it.
Well, let's get into maybe something that is fun or not. We'll see how it goes. AEW Dynamite and Rampage. This was a 3-hour edition of AEW due to playoffs and such happening on Friday. This is May 1st, 2024 episode of Dynamite and Rampage. We open things up with Tony Khan. Video saying, of course, he's got his neck brace on, saying he's not cleared to travel, and then the connection gets a little weird. And Matthew and Nicholas appear. They say, "Ooh, we lost him. Sorry, but we're in charge. Don't you worry. Here's a new show open." And the show open was the Elite.
Oh,
Yeah, good shit.
it's hard to hate the Young Bucks. It really is,
Yeah,
because the stuff they do is just so good. They get it. They get it. They understand it. They're so good in the rain, but then they go do shit like this, and it's just like it
yep,
just elevates their talent, because this was classic. It's like, we gotta, and it's all elite. I'm just like, this is fucking gold.
yep.
This is so good. You're just, I couldn't believe it. It was just so good. Now, this is good. This is what AEW needs. This is where I was saying earlier, when we were in news, rumors, and innuendo, Dave Meltzer took a bit of a shot at AEW, which I was surprised by. He said this angle of the Young Bucks and what we later come into the show with Kenny Omega, it's good, but it might be a little late. If this was 2 years ago, at the height of AEW's, when they kind of peaked, this would have just propelled them even further. But right now, AEW is kind of on a low spot. Their ratings have been low. Their attendances have been low. Their TV viewership has been down. He feels like, having an angle like this at this point, when there's not enough eyes on it, is kind of lost. And you brought up earlier, and we were talking about this before the show. I'm just like, why aren't we talking about this on the show? And you're like, I don't want to talk about it on the show. And I'm like, going, what do we really care? The numbers you were saying. What was the numbers for this Dynamite show?
703,000.
703,000. So a little bit up from the past week, but not much. They're still hovering around the 700,000 mark. That's not good.
3% increase from last week's episode.
And what's scary about that is that they announced that Kenny Omega was on the show beforehand. It wasn't a surprise like the Tony Khan getting Tony Khan drive, Dave Meltzer drive. They didn't announce that, which is dumb. I don't know why you wouldn't somehow.
I'm not gonna cop out for them and say oh, this could be a possibility. But something that to go hand in hand with this is they were competing against NBA and NHL playoffs, which was kind of tough. I mean, WWE is too, but also, it's just like
but when you have an announcement of one of the greatest wrestlers of all time showing up after being off TV for 6 months, and you can't up your numbers with that, and actually. Even more, you were going on to say, and this is where you said you didn't want to talk about it, but we are going to talk about it. Their numbers peaked when Kenny Omega was on screen, correct?
No. I was saving this part for this moment here.
Okay, have at it. I see. This is yours. Because you have the numbers.
The spikes happened, when the Omega and the Elite segment happens at the end, which we'll get into. But it also spiked when Chris Jericho had a match with Shibata. Those were the spikes.
Okay.
Interesting.
So, those spikes, it is interesting, and it's not interesting because it says in itself. Chris Jericho is a name that's known to everybody, right? Chris Jericho is a well-known person in wrestling and outside of wrestling even. He's a larger-than-life star. Kenny Omega is peaking. Again, it's Kenny Omega. By now, almost, unless you're living under a rock, everyone knows who Kenny Omega is. Your big star should spike you, but to lose those fans as soon as those segment ends, they turn the channel off or they go to something else once those segments end. They don't want to stick around and watch the rest. That's not good. You should have those moments retaining your fans, but they're not, and there's a systematic problem in that. And I'm not talking shit about AEW here. Like we've said it before, we want AEW to succeed. I have a lot of favorite wrestlers in AEW. I have a lot of favorite matches in AEW. but the trend here is not good. And this is where Dave Meltzer is saying that this whole angle is 2 years too late, because right now AEW's not cool. It's not trending. It's not as popular as it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Dave Meltzer, for once, said something that made sense. He's right. If they had this angle 2 years ago, it would have propelled them even bigger, because they had way more eyes on them. But now they don't have as many eyes on them. So these awesome segments, like this Kenny Omega segment, we'll get into it, was good. It was really good. I got hyped. I was pumped. I'm like, oh, dude, this is so fucking good, Kenny Omega. But it's not being seen by enough people, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I didn't like it seeing those, but I think it's just time to accept that that's what it's going to be for them, and they got to figure out how to work with that.
They got to build off this moment, because they do have something good going here. They really do.
Yeah.
And they got to build off this. They got to get the excitement back, because they had it. They were there. They were pulling in plus $1 million fan shows in their height. Like, they got to get that back, because man, they got it. They got the talent. They got Moxley. They got Ospreay. They got Omega. They got the Young Bucks. They got Okada. They got Swerve. They got Tony Storm. They got Claudio Castagnoli. They got Takeshita. They got Jay White. Like, you got all this fucking talent, and you can't figure out how to get fans to watch it. Like, you got to figure it out, because I need this to succeed, because I want to see these fucking matches. You guys put on dream matches, but it's not going to matter if you guys don't succeed. So figure it out. Please, for the love of God, figure it out. Figure out how you can get, because in the end, regardless, I mean, yeah, Tony Khan, Sean Khan, they have billions of dollars. They can just pump money into it forever. But in the end, at a certain point, no businessman in their right mind would go, yeah, dude, you're losing way too much fucking money on this. Like, come on.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. One of the big things you mentioned that they got going is Swerve Strickland, and he is the first person into the ring condemning what the Young Bucks did to Tony Khan.
This should have happened. Well, I mean,
I know what you're saying.
This should have happened last week, because I said this last week. Why is this guy not opening your show after he won the title, being your first African American champion? Blah blah blah. Spin it however you want. He should have been opening your show last week, not this week. He should open your show every fucking week. He's
champion.
Swerve Strickland. He's your fucking champion.
Yep.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah, he condemns what they did to Tony Khan, but then the Bucks interrupt him and say, "We run the show, and we got your challenger for Double or Nothing, and it's Christian Cage." The return of Christian Cage and the patriarchy. No words said between the two, because he just takes out Swerve, takes out Prince Nana, and Christian says he's doing this because of what Swerve did to Nick Wayne last year. He left Nick Wayne in a bloody mess. And the fact that Strickland was the reason they lost their tag team match at All In Wembley. This was confirmed to be the championship match set for AEW Double or Nothing. Is Christian Cage versus Swerve Strickland doing anything for you?
Okay, I'm cool with this. I really am. This could be a really good fucking match. Christian Cage is a legend in the ring. He's probably one of the best workers in all of wrestling throughout his whole career. He's always been a solid worker. Him and Swerve will have a great match. Look, I don't care, but if you said if AEW says that the rankings mean something,
yeah,
then make them mean something. If they don't mean something, get rid of them.
The only rebuttal I have for this is Tony Khan cares about the rankings. He's not in charge.
Yeah, then have the Young Bucks come out and say the rankings don't mean shit.
That'd be freaking hilarious.
Honestly, make it make sense. You know what I mean? I'm all for it. Rankings, cool. Make them mean something. That's fine. Actually use it. If you're not going to use it, then why have them? CM Punk said these things don't mean anything. Get rid of them, and they got rid of them because CM Punk was in the same mindset. It's like, they don't actually mean anything. Why do we pretend like they mean something? Get rid of it. It's stupid. That's where I sit with this. But I'm not saying that I'm back. Christian Cage, Swerve, I'm all for it. Even before it happened, you're like, I got to Google, is Swerve's dad dead?
He's not.
He's not. So that angle's not happening. But I laughed when you said that because the same thing popped in my head. I'm like, oh, I wonder if Swerve's dad is dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all for this match. It's gonna be a good match. Like I said, Christian's a legend in the ring. Swerve is white hot, nuclear, uh, on fire right now.
Mhm.
I'm all for it. And yeah, Swerve has gone complete babyface now. So, yeah, man, I want to see this match. I love Christian. Great wrestler. Swerve, this is another one of your guys. This is another one of your guys that
Yeah.
I wasn't 100% for at first, and now I am. The
Yep.
dude oozes champion charisma. We all know how it's gonna go. It's the first match after winning it. Swerve ain't losing, but man, it's gonna be a banner match, man.
Next match was not really much of a banger. It was the AEW TNT Championship match. Adam Copeland defending against Buddy Matthews. I know there was a moment in this match that you probably want to talk about with the doctor actually getting called in. So I'll just let you go ahead and talk about it. Go for it.
Oh God. So yeah, but it's I'm not lying when it's true. So if they call him the doctor, it's not a real injury. They made it look very questionable, and I was like, at first I was like, oh shit, like he's bleeding, like coughing up blood. Like at first I thought, oh shit, something happened. But then they call the doctor. I'm like, oh no, it's a work. And then afterwards, it's like, why would you even have that spot and then continue to just absolute like take spears and like I hated it so fucking much. I'm hating myself now because of it. I really don't get these doctor and like this is twice in like 2 weeks that they've done these weird ass doctor call-ins for fake injuries. I don't know why they're horny for it right now, but apparently they are. This, in the end, is probably just a way to write Buddy Matthews off TV for a few weeks as he is getting married to Rhea Ripley. So
Allegedly,
allegedly, like what? Am I wrong? Isn't that
it's
the
never
thing?
actually been confirmed, but
Okay, well, allegedly they're having a wedding at some point near future because, anyways, nonetheless, sure, whatever. I'm done. We're good. Yeah,
there you go.
100%. The doctor angle. I don't. They've done it twice in 2 weeks now. It's not a good look when you once again a guy actually gets injured and like Powerhouse Hobbs. You guys
Yeah.
didn't check on him and call the match off of a significant injury, and the match went on. Like I get it. The show must go on, but you got to put your wrestler's health ahead of the show sometimes. So if you write a report that Powerhouse Hobbs had a significant injury, the match probably should have been stopped instead of just get to the finish quickly. WWE used to do it. Now if a guy's seriously, like we saw that in Joe Gacy's match recently, there was the thought that he had maybe took a good bump to the head, and they stopped the match instantly. You got to put your star's health ahead of the show sometimes.
Yep.
So you're not helping yourselves when you call the doctor fakely, but then a guy really gets hurt and you don't call the doctor. So yeah, that's where yeah.
The end of this match, after Adam Copeland gets the win, he attacks Buddy Matthews, and then he sets Buddy up for the concerto. Lights go out. Malachi Black appears, and he's encouraging Edge, Adam Copeland, to do it. Lights go out. He's by himself. The next match was.
Dude, that shit was so good.
Yeah,
so good. That's telling a story inside the match. So good. I loved every second of that. That was good. They redeemed themselves from the weird ass match that they just had. It was a good match, but again, I already said my thoughts on it. But the ending there, that was so good because I was like, "What the fuck's going on? Is Edge going heel?" And you're like, "No, I don't think it might be effects of the mist. This is story." And I was like, "Oh God."
So yeah,
right.
the mist is, and we'll get into a little bit of Edge. There's a moment backstage. The mist is a big deal because Sky Blue was hit with the mist by Julia Hart, and she ended up turning and teaming with Julia Hart. She never officially became part of the House of Black, but it did change her and affect her like that. So yeah.
And you really dig into it. This is right up Edge's edges. Adam Copeland's alley. This is, Edge, Adam Copeland, Edge in WWE always had that edge to him, where you're like, he's a baby face, but he could snap at any moment, and he did multiple times. And the Judgment Day started because of Edge, and you gotta the Judgment Day wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Edge's starting of it. He created the Judgment Day. The Brood, the models, him and Christian. Edge, Adam Copeland has always been better as a heel. Christian has always been better as a heel. And yeah, I like this angle. It's going somewhere, and I really dig what they're doing with it. And it fits right into Adam Copeland's personality, his style in the ring. He's always on that edge of, crossing over to, heel territory. You know what I mean?
Yep. Samoa Joe in a squash match versus Isaiah Cassidy. Anything with that one?
No, other than every time I see the Muscle Buster, I think it's probably one of my favorite moves in
It is
wrestling.
nice. It is nice. It is really nice. Let's talk about something else that's nice. Sky Blue calls out Willow Nightingale. That is going to be the main event for Rampage. It's technically just the main event of this AEW Wednesday is what I've been calling it. We get Orange Cassidy coming out. Says that because of what happened on Rampage, which we didn't watch, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta had a parking lot brawl. That Chuck Taylor's was injured and he would never wrestle again. I hope that's not true. I hope it's story. I was kind of a little taken back. I wasn't sure.
I read something today, rumor, innuendo, but it's not part of story. It's not part of story. It was actually a shoot by Orange Cassidy. That's what I read. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but apparently somebody has had some kind of information that it wasn't a storyline saying it was an actual shoot from Orange Cassidy. So see what happens, but maybe he really did get fucked up in that match.
He calls out Trent Beretta. Trent interrupts him. The Orange doesn't want anything of it. He goes out. Orange just runs right at Trent. The security has to separate him. Chris Statlander comes out to calm things down. And then in a very interesting move, Don Callis came out and reasons with Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy leaves with Don Callis. This was very interesting to me.
This
story.
This is interesting. This is story, and this is they're starting to this is why they need the fans, because they are telling some good shit right now. Last couple weeks, tonight, last week, they're getting it. They're starting to figure it out, and this is good, man. Let's see where this goes. I'm so for this, man. Orange Cassidy, Don Callis. What are they talking about? Where are they going? What are they doing? It makes you want to tune in next week to see what the fuck happens.
What do we got here next? It's the Elite minus Okada are interviewed about attacking Tony Khan. The Jacksons, the Young Bucks, leave pretty quickly, and Jack Perry cuts a promo and just says it's a new era under the Elite. Up next, the FTW Championship. Chris Jericho on defending against Katsuya Shibata. Man, this new Jericho gimmick. Okay, the learning tree. I'm behind.
It's growing on you. It's growing on you, isn't it?
I'm behind it. This fake ass smile and wave. Hi guys. The learning tree, Chris Jericho. You need to take a branch and hold on, and listen to the words of Chris Jericho. Just saying.
Who are we? who are we to doubt Chris Jericho, man? You said this in your top 10. The guy knows how to recreate himself. And although this didn't take off right away, and we're like, what the fuck is this shit? It started to take shape tonight. Or not tonight, but it's starting to take shape on Dynamite. It might end up being something good. I'd hate to say it, but maybe now that Hook's not involved in the storyline, it might be have a little bit to do with it.
Yeah.
But
Jericho gets the win, by the way, in this match because
yeah,
of Big
I'm with this. This could go somewhere. And yeah, the fake ass smile and the wave,
Yeah.
and we'll get to
Hi,
that
guys.
in the backstage interview after. But it's Jericho's the GOAT, man. He's one of the greatest. He who are we to doubt him, man?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Up next is a pretty good match. Claudio Castagnoli gets the win over Brian Cage. I just get reminded every time, and I said it before, just how good Claudio is in the ring. That's really all this was to me.
Yeah, there was a point there where Tom Terry's like, "Oh, it's meat on meat or whatever." He's like, "Is it really though?" I mean, yeah, Brian Cage is a big fucking dude, and Claudio's big, but
seeing
he's more
Brian Cage in
athletic.
person. Oh yeah, he's a big guy.
And I do like the Swolverine. I'm sure he's had those tights before, but I saw that. I picked up on it too. I was like, that's pretty good. But yeah, Claudio's more athletic than just big, giant dude. He is big though, man. Yeah, Claudio's so good. He. There's a reason why all his peers say he's a peer wrestler. He is dedicated to his craft. Great match. It was a fun match. I mean, I don't think it got a lot of love on people's list, but I enjoyed the shit out of that match.
Yeah, it was a really, really good match. Up next, Rocky Romero on Dynamite challenging Kyle O'Reilly to a match on Rampage. We'll get to that in a bit. Serena Deeb has a match against Mariah May. The finish of this match comes with Toni Storm throws in the towel for Serena to Mariah. Toni Storm throws in the towel to give the victory to Serena Deeb. She didn't want Serena Deeb to hurt her child, as she said. Serena Deeb, what do you think? It's going to be Serena Deeb versus Toni Storm at Double or Nothing. What do you think of that?
I have no comment on this.
Okay.
I don't really know much about Serena Deeb. All I know her as is straight edge society. I don't want to sound like that guy. Like I just don't I don't know much about Serena Deeb. I'm sorry, so I don't feel it. I guess the takeaway from this is there's little seeds being planted for Mariah May's inevitable.
She might be the one to win it. She might be the one to win it. She's good.
The inevitable turn, the throwing in the towel. Yeah, it's innocuous right now, but it could set fuel in the future. Be like, you didn't trust me. You had to throw in the towel. You didn't think I could do it, or shit like it can be worked with. So there's little seeds being planted. But yeah, I apologize. I don't know much about Serena Deeb, so I'm not really invested in their match. Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, I agree. That's all I got to really say with it too. Before we get to Kenny Omega's return, Edge, Adam Copeland, is interviewed by Renee Paquette, where Kyle O'Reilly appears and just tells him, "I got your back." But there's still, you could see it, and this is how good he is, Adam Copeland. Of just there's something up with him, man, and he's looking a little weird, and he catches Kyle O'Reilly looking at the TNT Championship, and he's like, "Hey, eyes up here, all right, eyes up here." So I think he's having some effects from the mist. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with that.
Adam Copeland, man, legend, so good. AEW's killing it, man. Their storytelling. I'll say this again. I said it 20 times already tonight. In the last 10 minutes, actually, their storytelling over the last few weeks has really gotten better. Little shit like this, little things. It's a quick little segment, but yeah, it's just little things like that. He's just like, he looks out of sorts and he's just selling it so good. And you're just like, he's just not fully there. And it's the mist, and you're like, it's the mist, and yeah, it totally is 100%. It's doing things, and yeah, little interactions like, hey, eyes up here, little things like that. It's Adam Copeland doing what he does best. He can weave a story so fucking good, and they just got to run with all this shit because they got a lot of good little things going on here, and if they can just build on them, they can be right back to where they were a couple years ago. I think they really do have everything in place to do it. So they're getting there. They just need to they just need to get the hype back. They need that hype back, and they're just so close. And I'm loving what they're doing right now. Everything, every little angle is perfectly set out. That some things are falling flat, but most of it is. It's getting me invested. It's making me want to tune in the next week to see more. It's making me want to tune into Rampage and Collision because I'm like, shit, I'm missing stuff now. Like this, the Chuck Taylor match. Like we missed that, and like if they're going to start doing shit like this, it's what makes you want to tune into other shows because if they spread the stories over multiple shows, it makes you have to watch multiple shows, and it's a great tactic. Be like, hey, if you miss this show, you're going to miss something important, and so build on it, guys. Keep going. You are the number 2 company in North America. Just get back to that fire you guys had when you guys were, at your peak. You can get back there. It's not hard. You guys have all the talent in the fucking world to do it.
One man that could be part of this in the forefront is Kenny Omega. He makes his return, the beautiful introduction from Justin Roberts. And he tells the crowd and everyone at home that all the details around his diverticulitis.
That's pretty good. Better than I could know.
He details believing that he would need to retire. But after all the things that have happened with the elite and all that, no, he's going to come back and be better than ever because there's still more work to do. He has to be in the conversation as one of the greats again. He was upset because his name wasn't mentioned when Ospreay and Bryan went at it. And then he turns to Matthew and Nicholas Jackson in the camera and he says, "Yeah, you guys are 2 EVPs, but there's a third EVP, and I still have part of the power in this company." And then the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada's music hits. And I did get goosebumps as these two stared down. One of the greatest rivalries, if not the greatest, in New Japan wrestling history. It's up there.
In all of wrestling.
In all of wrestling. Two just fantastic matches they always put on. And Omega says if Okada gives him a few months, they can finish this rivalry here in AEW. But then things turn. Jack Perry attacks Kenny Omega from behind. He fights back, but he hits a nice Snapdragon suplex, by the way, on Jack Perry. Fighting back, but yeah, he did. But he's holding his stomach, clutching his stomach. He gets hit in the chair with his stomach. They hit Matthew and Nicholas come out, and they hit the EVP trigger on Omega to close out AEW Dynamite. And I just want to roll through. We get into Rampage here, but they're still showing footage of the Elite attacking Kenny. Kenny's getting stretchered out. FTR came out to save Omega. They couldn't. They did, as Omega gets stretchered out. And then eventually you get backstage and Matthew and Nicholas and the Elite are out there and they just tip the stretcher over and Omega's taking bumps on his stomach left and right. Beautiful segment, and I think we both said the same thing. I think he's closer to being back than we think, or hope. I'm not sure.
So what was it? A few months ago, Omega was called out for his lack of promo skill. Yeah, that's wrong because this might have been one of Omega's best promos ever. Goosebumps. You're right, man. Goosebumps. He is a bona fide megastar. He is
one of the greatest of all time,
if not the greatest of all time, man. Oh, just having him back out of the ring, just the electricity, the bravado, the charisma, just his lines. He's like, I was 24 hours away from dying. I have a ticking time bomb inside of me, but if there's I'll wrestle out here with a colostomy bag, without a colostomy bag. I don't care if I'm 1%, 5%, 10% away from dying. I will be back. Oh, so good, man. And it's like just switches on a dime. We're talking about colostomy bags, so why not talk about 2 other shits while we're at it?
That was so good.
Fucking so good, man. Kenny Omega is a legend. He will go down. I'll say it a million times. He'll go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. You love Will Ospreay. I don't think Will Ospreay can. Man, I don't think Will Ospreay can touch what Kenny Omega's done in his career, man. I don't know. Time will tell, but man, Kenny Omega just being so like he's taking these bumps. These bumps are direct shots to where, somebody with his condition, if he wasn't close to being back, there's no chance anybody in the world would let him take those bumps, just for pure liability sakes of being on a, show like this. Man, we're like this fucking close to getting Omega back in action, and AEW really cannot be getting him back at a better time because they are struggling, but Omega, this shit will. I think the fans will start coming back now. I really hope so. Hell, if they don't, I'm watching it every week because I want to see where this goes because oh god, this is so good. This angle, this whole everything is so good. So good. This is making it exciting. This makes me want to tune in to watch every second of it. I wish I would have known about Omega 2 years ago, 3 years ago when he was healthy in the ring, showing up every week to AEW, doing his thing. I didn't know who Omega was. I know now, and I regret missing. Like, I'm so glad that we got New Japan World to watch his old shit in New Japan because I can't go back and watch AEW episodes unless I can find a way. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, Omega's just that fucking good, man.
That's all that needs to be said. That's how good Kenny Omega is, and I cannot wait to see him back in action on AEW. This brings us into the matches of Rampage. And man, I'm probably going to fly through a lot of this because nothing really grabbed me. Jay White, though, Dante Martin, pretty good match. Jay White sucks, but I mean, he's on Rampage. But, he's holding 3 titles, technically, right? He's carrying the Ring of Honor World 6-Man Tag Team titles, the Acclaim's custom AEW World Trio title, and the original AEW Trios title. Jay White picks up the win. He attacks Dante after the match. That was that, man. My Bullet Club Gold t-shirt's on the way. Can't wait.
Nice. Yeah, only takeaway from this match was the ending where they were, he brought him up and you're like, oh my god, please take him up. Please take him up. And he did the full heel. And yes, Jay White deserves more than Rampage. What are you doing, AEW? He deserves more than Rampage. He deserves more than a trios title. He deserves to be in that main picture of the AEW championship. Yeah, man, I don't know. I'll tune in and watch Jay White as much as I possibly can, but I want to see him on the main show.
Yep. That's really all I got with that one, man. Deonna Purrazzo says she's not against making things personal against Thunder Rosa. We get a Roosh vignette, the Lucha Libre sort of Strickland promo that he's going to have a chat with Christian Cage on Dynamite. Big Bill gets an interview with Renee Paquette, saying he believes he is missing the guidance that appeals to Chris Jericho. Please teach me. Jericho enters the frame. Hi, guys. And says that he believes Big Bill is ready. And he says that with the Redwood, that's his new nickname now for Big Bill, the learning tree will be for the world champion forever. It's what he said. The learning tree is just... Why do I like it? I don't know. I don't know why I like it, but fuck.
Because Jericho's in that GOAT conversation, man. He comes in, the smile, the wave, hi guys. It feels like a kid's show. And then, gives the nickname Redwood. It's like AEW just has a million nicknames for everybody, I guess. And then it ends, and Jericho's doing the wave and the smile again, but the camera lingers still on, and he just stands there smiling, waving for like 2 seconds too long, and it gets awkward. And it's gold. It's so fucking good. It's so bad. It's good.
Yep. That's where I'm at with that now too. Something that I didn't think this match was really good. And I hate it because I love both of them involved. Let me phrase this. The in-ring stuff was good. There was just really nothing behind it. Kyle O'Reilly defeats Rocky Romero. Good match, but I didn't feel anything with it. What about you?
Um, yeah, man. Rocky Romero is kind of taking the I'm Switzerland in this whole situation
With the best
between
friends, yeah.
best friends and everything. Especially, which is weird because Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta were, well, Roppongi Vice. It was mentioned on the broadcast. They were, if you don't know who, go watch some New Japan shit of Roppongi Vice. Wicked tag team. Yeah, man, I'm just glad to see Rocky Romero in a match. I feel like we don't get to see him enough. He's a wicked wrestler, and yeah, this was just a technical match. It's another one of those technical matches, and I get it. People love those matches, and they'll give them good star ratings and shit. But it's not for me. I wasn't into the match that much myself. That's all I gotta say. But I do love Kyle O'Reilly and Rocky Romero. Outside of Kyle O'Reilly's current haircut, it's a little off, but I'm just nitpicking now apparently because I got nothing great to say about this match. So yeah, no, it didn't hit for me. So yeah.
Couple more backstage things. Saraya Harley Cameron just cut a promo on Mariah May and Tony Storm, talking about knocking out Storm for throwing in the towel on Dynamite. And Saraya says the words, "You preach to push our tits out, and we're doing a good job of that." And then they walk off.
That's her name. That's her name.
Harley Cameron. Harley Cameron.
Harley Cameron?
Yes, Harley Cameron.
Okay. I had no clue who she was.
Yep. So I think there's something coming up on Dynamite with that. Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, and Roddy Strong, the Undisputed Kingdom, are interviewed, where Roddy promises he will defeat Will Ospreay at AEW Double or Nothing.
That's not happening.
Listen, the only way it's happening is if the Don Callis family turns and costs Will Ospreay. That is it. I'm sorry. You're not. If it's a straight up singles match, Roddy, love you. You ain't beating Will Ospreay. Simple as that.
Maybe Adam Cole.
I don't even think an Adam Cole return helps. No. You got to have the Don Callis family turn on Will.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
Which is possible because, I mean, what title is Roderick, the international title?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Is that really a Will Ospreay title?
No.
Maybe. Yeah, I can see it happening. Yeah. Maybe we do get maybe it's Orange Cassidy saying, "Hey, Will, you're out. Orange Cassidy's in." Which would, I mean, nothing against Orange Cassidy, but that's a dumb trade.
They'll put on a good match, though. They'll put on a great match. They have before.
Yep, they definitely have before.
Well, we'll see what happens with that, and then we get to the main event. The AEW TBS Championship Manitoba Massacre. Willow Nightingale defending her championship against Sky Blue. And this match I was torn because in the past month I've had the opportunity to talk to Sky Blue, interview Sky Blue. I've got to in person hang out with Willow Nightingale and set up interviews with her at a radio station. And now they're just in a match together. And this was a pretty good match. A couple moments that made me go, ah. But, oof. I'll tell you what, Sky Blue loves her a hardcore match.
Man, what a match. Month and a half ago, you asked me, Willow Nightingale, what do you think? I'm like,
yeah.
No, not feeling it. Ask me right now, she kills it. Willow Nightingale is, she's a wicked fucking wrestler. Sky Blue loves her hardcore matches. The tack spots, those were brutal, man. They were. I felt hurt throughout that match. Those girls went at it, man. They put on a fun match. I quit.
Beautiful.
I quit smoking like 3 months ago. I needed a cigarette after that match.
The final spot with was it the Gory Bomb?
The bar. The what?
What was it? What was
the barbed wire through the table?
Yeah. The power bomb. For the 1, 2, 3, Sky Blue. Sky Blue actually just scrolling to Twitter. She had quoted the finish of that match and said, Well, I guess that's what I get for bringing out the barbed wire. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, great match. Willow, of course, retains. She'll be taking on Mercedes Moné at AEW Double or Nothing May 26th in Las Vegas, Nevada.
I don't
Um,
I don't I don't want Willow to lose the title, but she's losing the title.
I feel bad for her, man. It sucks.
It does suck because Willow's hot right now. She's doing a great job, and you know me, I'm a huge Mercedes Sasha fan,
Mhm.
but I don't want Willow to lose like this. Not to somebody that's just come in. That just seems
First
cheap.
match. Her
That just
first
seems
match.
cheap. That just seems like a cheap loss to Willow now, and that's just so unfortunate for her. But she's killing it. I don't. This doesn't hurt her. She's losing the title 100%, unless
Mhm.
something really weird happens and Tony Khan somehow, just fucking is that dumb. But this doesn't hurt Willow. She'll bounce back from it because she is hot right now.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We'll see what happens when we get there. Other than that, that's a wrap on this week in wrestling. From the news, the innuendos, our backlash predictions, and all that good stuff in between. Any lovely parting words for the people, RK?
No, man, that was good. Actually, I can't say that was a good week of wrestling because Raw really dropped the ball hard.
Yeah, they
But
did.
AEW's firing on all cylinders right now. I love to see it. NXT put on a great show. SmackDown was very good. We got Backlash coming up this weekend. We got SmackDown tomorrow night. The draft is over, so hope they can get back to just doing what they do best.
Yep.
Overall, man,
and just a note with that, the rosters don't fully take effect until Monday Night Raw. There was something I saw on Twitter that said trades can still happen. So just an interesting tidbit.
see what happens. But the draft has never.
Yeah.
It has always fell flat, and I don't think they improved upon it this year. They just got to go. They'll just go back to what you guys have been doing. It is right after WrestleMania. We always expect a lull. They got to start building stories for SummerSlam now, so they're just setting the seeds. But yeah, overall, SmackDown and more Backlash this weekend. Can't wait for AEW Dynamite next week. I'm probably going to tune into Collision this weekend just to see what's going on. I'm going to be at the show in a week from Saturday, live in Vancouver, Collision. So I'm super pumped about that. Yeah, man.
I think you're getting Collision and Rampage, actually. Just a heads up on that.
Man, I'm for it. I'm for it. So, yeah, looking forward to all that. And, yeah, that's my wrap on the week. Wish Raw would have been a banner because then we would have really had a full, solid week of wrestling. But not everything can be perfect all the time.
Well, that's going to wrap things up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment, all that good stuff. The parting words that I have to say are the modern day Maharaja, Raj Desi, fucking sucks. That's all I got to say. With that being said,
you went there. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I did.
Okay.
I'm Kurt.
Okay.
That's RK. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been a decently starred podcast, RK. Am I right?
4.5 stars. 4.75.
We'd round up if we were in the Tokyo Dome, though, right?
Yeah, well, one day.
we
need those likes and subscribes. We'll get to the Tokyo Dome, people.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We will talk to you next week.
Peace.